A group of British ghost hunters are walking around the Wilney graveyard in search of paranormal evidence. It's late at night when they apparently find exactly what they are looking for. Pay close attention to the area between the two tombstones or you might miss it.
What the f was that?
The man's flashlight passes over a tall silhouette that makes him pause. It looks like it could have simply been some shadows playing against the wall, but they light up the entire area. And there's no wall to be found. Let me know if you saw the strange shadowy figure and what you think it could have been. This figure appears out of nowhere and then disappears just the same way. Shared on TikTok, watch this mysterious vanishing act.
Tại gì không? Nó cái bóng này. Nó thấy gì không? Nó đang đạp xe đạp nè. Đó. Kìa. Kìa.
It does appear that the figure is only suddenly visible when the light flashes on them. And after it trapezes across the roadside for a moment, it vanishes into nothing.
Kìa. Kìa.
While it could just be a poor quality camera, the way the figure pixelates and disperses is utterly eerie to me.
Kìa. Kìa.
I'm no tech expert. Can anyone clear this up for me in the comments? Mysterious, unexplained lights were recently sighted over Brazil, just north of Rio de Janeiro. The diagonal formation of strange lights stretches into the night sky and blinks in and out of sight. It's not a constellation because there are no stars in the sky, just these strange, unexplained lights that slowly move to the right and glow a fierce red when the camera zooms in. As the camera moves across the city to show there are no stars, they see more strange lights in the sky. These ones closer to Earth, a large column of lights at 56 seconds that should not be there at all. It looks like it could be a building, but according to them it's not. More lights seem to drop and lower to the ground, but it's too far away to tell. When he zooms out, he is surprised to find most of the skylights are already gone. This happened on June 24th of 2020, and if you're wondering why I was never reported on the news, maybe it's because we were never supposed to find out. 20 years ago, this hospital was abandoned. Now urban explorer Luan Mendez is ready to investigate the hospital to see if it's haunted. He's exploring the hospital in search of the scariest place he can think of, the morgue, because that's where a ghost is most likely to be caught on camera. The only problem is he and his team aren't exactly sure where it is, and soon they get twisted up in a maze of hospital hallways. The ghost of a nurse is said to roam these halls. They don't see anyone, and yet every room they pass leaves them feeling more watched, more creeped out. A figure sprints past without making a sound, and I think this is a real ghost sighting because the ghost hunters are walking, and you can hear their footsteps loud and clear. Meanwhile, the apparition is running full speed, but there are no footsteps, which shouldn't be possible. Listen again. They investigate the floor and find no footprints. Someone, perhaps a ghost, was just running down the hall, but the dust is undisturbed. Further evidence that this was a real ghost in the hospital hallway. They're scared, but they keep exploring the abandoned building, eventually coming across some more weird things in the nursery area. Creepy stuff like this picture of a child on a rope that scares them. Creepy stuff like a rotten offering of some sort, stuck against the wall in what appears to be a bizarre ritual. On the ground, they see two small red dots and begin following the splatter pattern. And what they found at the end still haunts the ghost hunters to this day.
Deixa eu só dar uma respirada, irmão.
Something swings upside down, and if you look directly behind them, you'll see it's in the same creepy room that they just showed on camera. So where could this thing have been hiding? And when they gather enough courage to check a second time, nothing is there. A YouTube channel called 3/Amir AMR searches for what his video title roughly translates into English as the most dangerous magician. Though its glowing eyes make it look less human and more like a jinn, the Arabic word for demons and spirits. The way the eyes come into focus at 1 minute and 4 seconds looks pretty good, but I think it might be special effects because the overall resolution seems to briefly drop. White and red eyes look at him from outside of a window, and there's a really good look at them here at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But these eyes look like they could be any of the city lights shown here when he goes outside. He does see the jinn standing outside of a window, eyes glowing white as ever. It disappears. Then he sees either the same creature or possibly another one in the building directly behind him. Now feeling surrounded, he turns and flees this entire area, but not before catching glowing eyes looking at him from the window within. This surveillance footage looks like it was taken on an academic campus of some sort. The security camera is glitching out and skipping frames, which is supposed to be a clear indication that Slenderman is near. Look closely here, and you can see a transparent figure in the upper left. Then, without warning, a tall figure is suddenly looming over a young boy. Slenderman yanks the boy high into the air by both arms, and then the video quickly cuts off. I notice in the bottom right corner that this camera was marked Camera 01, but I wasn't able to find footage from any of the other cameras. If somebody recognizes this location, then maybe we can do some more precise investigating and get to the bottom of this mysterious sighting. A YouTuber named Nick makes it clear from the beginning that he does not believe in Bloody Mary in the slightest. He turns the lights off, and then 3 times in a row he sarcastically says,
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. See guys, like I said.
Before he has a chance to finish his sentence, the figure touches him and he falls to the floor. If this was real, exactly how this video was recorded or uploaded remains a mystery, as it looks like Nick might not have pulled through. In the very beginning of this creepy video from India, a man is riding on a motorcycle and then he's suddenly on foot. So I guess he must have broken down in the middle of nowhere and has to walk to the nearest town. After a while, he sees somebody else and is relieved to find help. But when he gets a better look, his hope does not last. The woman is wearing long white robes and holds her arms bent in a weird stance. The two do not speak and the man knows that she is not normal, so he doesn't even try. As she advances, he notices her face is abnormally gaunt and pale, the face of a zombie or someone close to their end. And the scary woman is making creepy noises too, barely human ones at that. She is not very coordinated and he keeps backing away to create more space, more amazed at this strange sighting than necessarily scared. The best look we get at her face is around 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Some say that this is a demon sighting caught on tape, and she has large dark circles under her eyes like a possessed woman, though I suspect it could be special effects makeup. He slowly backs away without taking the camera off her for a minute, never letting her slip out of his sight until he presumably reaches help in the next town. A YouTuber called Bangladesh Ghost Hunter, together with his trusty dog Thomas, go exploring abandoned houses and other fabled haunted places deep in the woods. One of their freakier finds takes place at night deep in the woods, where scary things are caught on camera, beginning with a scream.
এবং আপনারা ওয়েট এই জন্য কিন্তু থমাস কোথায় দেখো তো।
As they strain into the darkness, a large number of weird things are caught on camera that deserve further analysis.
ওখানে কিছু আছে, ঠিক আছে, এই জন্য কিন্তু থমাস কোথায় দেখো তো ছিল, মানে হা করে সেই ধোঁয়াগুলো খাচ্ছিল। থমাস থমাস
Watch this part beginning at 5 minutes and 39 seconds and see how much paranormal activity you can see in 15 seconds.
যখন আলাদা করতে চেয়েছিল, তো তখন কিন্তু আমি কাছে ছিলাম, তখন আর কি পরিস্থিতি হয়েছিল সেটা যদি একটু বল।
Okay, at 5 minutes and 40 seconds, a strange yellow orb glances across the camera and goes away. 2 seconds later, he turns his head as this pink aura is caught on camera that may or may not be the cameraman's finger, but in that moment, a strange wispy mist rains down on him that he can't see. 20 minutes and 40 seconds is when they finally see it. A form between two trees in the shape of a person. The flashlight chances upon it for but a brief moment and then it's gone. But it's still there watching them, of that I am sure. Lalo Escalante is a Mexican paranormal investigator, relatively new to YouTube. Escalante started his channel in October 2019. At the beginning of December 2020, Lalo and his team investigated an abandoned house in Culiacan, Mexico. Right at the beginning of this video, a couple of orbs can be spotted as the camera is showing the exterior. While they could be dismissed as dust particles, other such specks can be seen all around. The orbs in question stand out and do not resemble the other dust specks seen. Furthermore, there's no distinguishing features you would see on an insect such as wings. From this common and tame example of paranormal phenomenon, the video escalates rather quickly. Escalante is joined on this investigation by friends David Apino and Luis Fernando. Right from the get-go, Apino appears to be in a state of discomfort. He frequently clutches at his stomach and coughs, causing concern amongst the others.
¿Te sientes bien? ¿Te sientes bien? Porque como que quería vomitar, güey. ¿Estás bien, güey? ¿Estás bien, güey? Sí. ¿Seguro? No sé ni cómo vamos a llegar arriba, güey. O sea, está súper grande. ¿Estás bien, güey? ¿Se salió que vieron, güey?
Despite him claiming to be alright, the others seem unconvinced, and soon Apino is hardly able to walk. His companions help him to a place where he can have a seat, and he stumbles as he is being led. Once they get him seated, they attempt to compose themselves when Escalante hears a noise, startling him.
Hola!
After calling out Ola, the cameraman spots a figure in a white shirt calmly walking from right to left in the background. The team quickly goes to investigate and check to see if there may be another person in the building. Entering a courtyard, they find nobody there and no sign of where the figure has gone. As they attempt to determine what they saw, their focus is broken by a strange high pitch from above them. It is difficult to fully analyze what the noise might be, as Escalante is speaking when it happens, but on closer inspection, it sounds either to be a woman giving out a quick scream sound, or the squeaking of a door or other inanimate object against either the ground or wall. Seconds later, they hear a similar noise, and this time clearly sounds like a whimper. As they decide to re-enter the building, they hear another sound, this time like a woman either crying or laughing. By this point, they feel they are not alone and quickly duck back inside. Throughout this time, Apino continues to show signs of distress, coughing and rubbing his stomach and chest. Clearly, something is affecting him. On their way inside, they discover some evidence the place is used by vagrants, trash all over and discarded clothing. This does lead to the possibility of whatever they saw and heard could be an actual person rather than paranormal, but this doesn't make the ordeal any less scary. People can be unpredictable, and it's possible whoever may be residing there could want to protect something they have stored there. The trio soon ascends to the top floor, where they spot yet another terrifying presence.
Es que de aquí se puede ver la alberca perfectamente. ¿Qué es eso, güey? ¡Güey! ¡Abajo, güey! ¡Abajo!
Below them, in the courtyard, they spotted the figure and heard the noises. They again see something staring at them. It then quickly ducks behind a wall, out of sight. They all rush down to investigate, but whatever was there has vanished. As they return to the courtyard, a loud crash is heard next to them, and even worse, a Pino appears to black out.
Güey, de aquí fue, Lalo, güey, de aquí fue, fue de aquí, güey. No mames, güey,
His face has gone completely red, and he is out cold. Concerned for their friend's well-being, the team abandons their investigation and rushes Apino back to their car. At this point, the video ends, but captions after state Apino regained consciousness and recovered quickly. Clearly, something had affected him in the place. They never found what was spying on them, but it is safe to say it didn't want them there, and definitely succeeded in sending them hightailing it back to safety. This grainy cell phone video comes from the SNDT Women's University in Mumbai, India. They are walking down a long hall filled with various classroom conversations when they see another student coming the opposite way. Well, I guess they didn't technically see them, since it was only a pair of shoes with nobody attached. Tell me, am I losing my mind? Or if this really is a ghost student going to class, when you have video proof from not one, but 3 angles, it's hard for paranormal deniers to say it's all in your head. Posted by one Ocelot 4 to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor caught the strange shadow in his kitchen on a security camera. He said the window shutters were down and nothing in the kitchen was turned on. He also mentioned in the comments that he sometimes feels cold spots in the hallway, and his security camera often goes off when he leaves the house. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, the following footage is hard to explain. The clip shows a large dark shadow flash past, falling over the kitchen entryway for just a moment. Not only has the uploader captured this footage from one vantage point, but he has all 3 cameras on it, and they all show the creepy shadow flicker past. What in the world could be creating this terrifying effect? Those in the comments have plenty of theories. Redditor Mr. Mesquite says it's obviously a ghost writing. Very harmless unless you are harmed. Good luck. Well, many note that it could be something casting the shadow from outside through the windows. The Redditor reiterates that the shades are closed. So who do you choose to believe? Is there a practical explanation? Or should this Redditor bring in a medium and scope out the situation? As another Redditor suggests, whatever happens, I don't think I'd be entering that kitchen for a while. Fishing in Space is the name of a YouTuber who once ordered numerous mystery boxes on eBay. The first one contains a small pouch full of unholy sticks and dirt, meant to be used in a demon summoning ritual.
Just like stuff like that. A bag of dirt that put under your pillow and say some Latin words and you get a demon.
I personally have never heard of this before, and I would like to hear more about this ritual from anyone who has tried it. Anyway, Fishing in Space moves on to unbox a haunted doll named Marlene next, though he doesn't give any backstory as to why the doll is possessed. Instead, Fishing in Space ends the video and says that he will post an update at a later date. However, this was a long time ago and we haven't heard from him since. I think that he is probably fine, but at the same time, I do find it eerie that he uploads a video about a demon summoning ritual and a haunted doll, and then subsequently never updates his channel ever again.
Alright guys, I'm gonna show you one of the reasons we hate this house.
There's a YouTuber named Not Your Average Wife, who apparently does not live in your average home either. Her dog Catherine absolutely refuses to go down the steps leading to their basement. Follow the dog's eyes because I think it might be seeing something down there that none of us can.
Catherine, come on baby. Come on pretty. Come on baby.
Not even a nudge from behind can convince Catherine to go down the stairs.
Come on Catherine.
And just to prove it's not a general fear of steps, They show her using different stairs without a problem. Maybe the dog almost fell down basement steps or something and is now afraid of them. At least, that's the only non-paranormal explanation I can think of. And if it is paranormal, based on how Catherine is acting, it must be something sinister in that basement. A YouTuber in Central Texas named Dylan Dickerson stopped feeling safe from home years ago when he first heard these strange sounds in the sky in December of 2018.
I hope you can hear that.
What's especially scary about this video is that at times, it sounds like a scary voice.
Now we're hearing them again.
At other times, it sounds like something else completely.
It just seems like they're always barking.
Almost like a battle of some sort just beyond our galaxy.
I still don't know what that is.
As this video taken 2.5 years later shows, the unexplained sounds in the sky have not gone away. If anything, they've become louder and more persistent, like it's evolving. I think these are real sky sounds caught on tape because the bird sounds up close and the sky noises are far away. Plus, 2 years is a long time to keep faking the same kind of video without much notice. So I believe in these scary sounds over Dylan's house. Do you? Paranormal Lone Star thinks they've spotted some strange activity while exploring the basement of the old Stanford Inn in Stanford, Texas. Down here is where an entity named Ernest is said to haunt. First, they find his saw.
Looks like I had a saw right there.
Oh wow, that's
the rest.
creepy.
That's the rest on the...
Then they find Ernest, or so it seems.
Not liking this room.
The saw is no doubt real because there is still a nail where it used to hang on the wall, but as for Ernest the ghost sighting, I'm not so sure. You can hear the paranormal investigators in the room, so it wasn't them, but it could have been a third person dressed in black pretending to be a real ghost caught on camera. We've all been there. It's a stormy night. Every sound in the house is an evil entity vying for your soul. That must have been what this man was feeling when he saw this happen in his dining room on a stormy night. The clip shows a man enter his dining room, which appears completely normal. Every chair in place. He enters his laundry room, then casts the camera down the stairs. It appears that something must have happened to cause him to search his house. He says hello down the stairs. Is someone or something there? He decides to go into his basement to investigate. The wooden steps are incredibly rickety. As he's nearing the bottom, a terrifying racket is heard upstairs. He runs for his life, only to find his kitchen chairs precariously stacked up, balanced one on top of the other. The dining room light is swinging around. The shot is still as the man crosses the room and stands frozen in fear at this ominous sight. The overhead light continues to swing, and nothing is there. There's something especially uneasy about the stacking of this man's furniture. Part of that uneasiness comes from the fact that no human could have done this particular building job in the short period of time that the man was away. Who do you think did it? or what? Anyone who's still in school has no doubt learned by now that remote learning is not very fun. However, every once in a while something will happen to liven up the lesson, or in this case, make it absolutely terrifying. This teacher has been cooped up all by himself for far too long and really doesn't seem to be enjoying his job or much of anything nowadays. To make things worse, the students keep playing a joke on him by saying that there is something watching him from behind. He knows that students like to mess with their teachers however they can, and so he tells them that it's just him and his dog living there and no one else. Little does he know how truly wrong he is.
Tanto el movimiento no existe, relacionado con lo que dice Raúl, el gato de... No me suena la tinga en alemán, pero en inglés.
Around the corner is the pale grim face of a ghost, half covered in shadows as it peers in from the dark hallway. I wonder if her other side is twisted and disfigured. We never get to see. In true paranormal fashion, the scary face dares not to enter the light and retreats before its discovery. The teacher goes on to explain that he just moved into this house, and so there's no way anyone is behind him. But once again, he is schooled by the supernatural.
Por ahí, en ocasiones, las llamadas paradojas. ¿Alguien sabe qué es una paradoja?
The door opens without anyone touching it, and as the girl retreats into the next room, his dog, who has been quiet this whole time, starts barking out like a stranger is near. It whimpers as he closes the door. The poor thing definitely doesn't want to be left alone. A YouTube channel called Proper Good Games is streaming Pokemon when a game goes flying across the room off camera.
I thought when people ate quail, it was like eating a fancy.
Oh my god,
They are both looking at each other and not moving at all when it happens, so it could not have been them. Then what she says next makes me feel like this happens all of the time. Do you believe her?
I'm not lying when I say ghost follow me around, right?
And when he goes to pick up the game, he lets out a gasp as the temperature into this part of the room suddenly grows very cold. Again, is this real or just good acting?
It's really cold weather, isn't it?
Sure, it actually is.
This video of a shaky, alien-looking pod looks like it really shouldn't exist anywhere on planet Earth, let alone some random person's basement. The way it moves from left to right without being touched makes me think that some strange life form is about to burst forth. Most of the comments agree that this could be some sort of egg or cocoon with a foreign host inside. Note how strange furry hair seems to protrude from sections of its hardened exterior, further indicating that this is in fact a living organism of some kind. The video ends before we can see what hatches, but whatever it is, I just hope it isn't something that is harmful. You know, when you're nonchalantly taking video, panning across the room, and this happens? This short clip posted to YouTube by Baku DD is not meant to be a jump scare, but it'll have you jumping scared anyway. As the woman films her apartment with a blurry camera, she pans around to a hallway that appears to be filled with sunlight, perhaps by a window backlighting the area, and there stands a tall, looming figure that apparently shouldn't be there at all, judging by the woman's frightened reaction. The woman shrieks, and the shot moves sideways as she jumps in fright. When she pans back to the hallway, the figure is gone. This is either a fantastic fake or the real deal. Whether you think it's legit or not, it's probably something you wouldn't want to witness in the flesh. This entry is a double dose. The first video comes to us from YouTuber Black Cat in November of 2021. The cameraman is filming from outside a bedroom. At first everything is still and silent. Then the wardrobe doors swing open and close. Plastic bags and other objects are all tossed out of it. They aren't tumbling out. They're literally being ejected. When the cameraman enters to investigate the wardrobe, you can see there is shelving that would prevent anyone of a normal size appears from hiding in there, out of view, and throwing the stuff out. As the camera pans over the wardrobe, noise is heard from behind the cameraman, who jerks around to find a bunch of papers being dispelled from I'm not sure where. While this poltergeist mystery goes unsolved, let's turn to the next one. Published by Nikki McMillan in November of 2021, this security footage was captured at Nikki's workplace. Fine porcelain and glassware is encased in glass in the shop. Nobody is around. Then a solid frame decides to skydive from a shelf in the hallway. There's nothing behind the frame and nothing on the shelf that would have caused it to spring overboard. A closer view of the shelf makes this all the more mysterious. Like the activity in the other video, the frame does not look like it just tumbled from the shelf. It appears as though it's being actively ejected. What witchcraft is at play here? Are these just random tumblings? Or are these entities actively poltergeisting? Sometimes evil energy sticks around a place long after bad things have happened there. This is one of those cases. YouTuber Brittany Crab posted this video in June of 2014 writing, exploring a scary haunted bridge that is haunted by a boy named Douglas riding a bike and a creepy man. So scary. Brittany says in the video that she's in the woods near her house, looking for an old bridge near which a young boy had his life taken. According to Brittany, the boy was riding his bike, and the man was standing near the bridge and offered him candy, but when the boy approached, the man took his life and shoved him in the pond beneath the bridge. People who visit this bridge feel a bad energy there, and they believe it's haunted by the boy Douglas. According to legend, you can hear the bicycle bell as he crosses the bridge. When she finally arrives at the bridge, she stands in the middle, feeling the creepy vibes everyone talks about, and as she's standing there, disturbed, the bicycle bell sounds. Fleeing the scene,
I think I just heard the bike.
She claims she just saw the man, and somehow she gets lost. She returns to the bridge, but the bicycle bell rings again, causing her to drop her camera. Someone picks up the camera in the end, but who? And apparently this bridge and the story really do exist. Several in the comments mention knowing hearing the story. One YouTuber, Golden M, writes, I heard about that bridge and my cousin lives close by it in the woods, and she went to explore it and she said she heard the bike and she also saw the man and kid. Would you dare visit this bridge? I certainly wouldn't. Things went wrong for the Ouija brothers even before they hit record in the butcher's house. They hear voices outside approaching the abandoned home.
That's it, that way now.
After the voices recede, they continue on through the house, but again they hear voices, this time screaming.
What they doing?
It sounds to me like she was screaming for help, and then
you're just gonna have to go over.
After a while, things settle down, but they can still hear people there. At first, I wasn't sure if someone was in trouble or if these were kids trying to play a joke on them, but later on in the video, they confront the kids. Although they had to abandon the investigation, at least this didn't turn out as terrifying as it seems. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Ding Dong Dingle Dude. This Redditor wrote, my friend and I saw this weird floating structure in the sky. Has anyone else seen something like this before? Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
What the dude, that's just floating up there in this sky. What the What the fuck? It flashed. Oh my, what? Dude, are you recording?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Mountain Aviator 1 wrote, That is the mysterious radio tower. It's obstructed by clouds. Well, the Triple B thinks it's a weather balloon. What do you think this object is? Let me know in the comments. A popular YouTuber named Max Murai is making a normal vlog when it becomes an accidental ghost hunting video instead.
Hi.
Caught on camera in the corner watching them all is the sighting of a ghost in a dress. When they see what they've caught on tape, they rush back to the same place for a second look. What they find has left their minds as haunted as the place itself. As they flee, one of the spirits has no problem keeping up, but it disappears before it reaches them, only to reappear again when they least expect. There's almost no way that this Japanese ghost hunting video really happened, because it would have made international news. Or maybe this ghost video is just now starting to gain attention online. A famous Malaysian YouTuber caught some supremely scary moments on livestream that have left him and all of his followers really freaking out. It's just another normal night at his house, spending time with roommates, when they get an idea to see who is the bravest. They've been suspecting their house was haunted for a long time and dare each other to go room to room with the lights off. The first 2 rooms are fine, but just when it looks like this was all for nothing, some scary things are caught on camera. Standing in the corner of the room is a silent spirit that Malaysian culture refers to as a pokong. A sighting of one of these spirits can be seen as a cry for help. They need to have someone undo their shroud so within 40 days, they can be freed from this world. With that in mind, I really don't blame him from running away instead of running forward. I don't think I would have the courage to undo its binds and withstand the rotten figure beneath. Seeing one in their own home must have been terrifying. While camping out at this haunted castle, a rustling is heard in the forest. Published by Exploring with Fighters, this YouTuber is exploring the abandoned ruins of Liverpool Castle. Being hundreds of years old, these castle ruins are bound to be haunted, and they're about to give the explorer a taste of fear. As he tries to sleep, his dog is alerted to a rustling sound outside their tent.
She's doing her goose impressions. She started doing her goose impressions because there's a weird noise coming towards us.
Noting that an owl has kept him up all night, the explorer was wide awake already, and even more so when the mysterious noise seems to be coming toward them.
An owl has kept me awake most of the night.
While the suspense builds, nothing reveals itself, leaving us to wonder what was lurking outside the explorer's tent. Was it man or beast, or something else? Steve Beltran sees an infected deer on his street and begins recording this brief 10-second video as proof. The poor deer looks to be in a total panic as it spins in place, completely oblivious to Steve and his camera. Maybe it's just me, but Steve seems to be standing way too close here. The zombie deer could accidentally stumble over and fall on him. All I'm saying is I definitely wouldn't want to come into close physical contact with anything that's been infected, especially with CWD. Fishing is supposed to be a relaxing pastime. Kick back with your pole and a cold one, and you're set for a pleasant afternoon spent out on the water. But this video, posted on Reddit by Caesar4321, reveals that fishing can sometimes take an unexpected turn. The clip shows a lucky fisherman reeling in his prize catch, a nice little fish which he pulls out onto the banks of the pond in order to remove it from the line. But as he steps closer to his catch, something pops up out of nowhere. Bet you didn't see that coming. Redditor iMoosker commented, "They are fishing in literal croc swamps, like they aren't asking for chomps." Asking for it or not, alligator incidents are on the rise in Florida. Moral of the story? Don't disturb those muddy waters, or your bones may be snapped in half by some seriously powerful jaws. A light at the far end of a room is swinging by itself, when all of the other lights are as still as can be. Now, before you tell me that it's under a vent, let me show you the same room from a different angle. Look all the way to the ceiling where the fluorescent light is grounded. No vents anywhere. So what's the deal here? Am I missing something major? Or is this light swinging on its own momentum when there's nothing to make it move? Recently, I've come across some YouTube channels showcasing these images of what appears to be the Statue of Liberty, moving her hand slightly to the right. It took me a long time, but I finally found the original video and can verify beyond all reasonable doubt that this giant moving statue video is edited. It is from a 2006 upload called The Statue of Liability, made by a computer animator named RODC 2006, who says in the description that it was made using a program called Blender 3D. So if you should ever happen to see these images somewhere online in the future, now you know it never happened and who originally made it. Props to RODC 2006 for being so good at editing that he continues to fool people so many years later. A YouTuber named Waffle Vlogs records a strange man standing outside his apartment home. According to Waffle Vlogs, this uninvited guest stood at his front door and then started walking the parking lot for a long time.
What's he doing out there?
He stares out at nothing for a while and eventually walks back to his car, which is a relief, but still doesn't explain what he was doing there to begin with. Waffle Vlogs seems just as confused as we are about what just happened to him. He thinks that he might have been getting his house cased out. I have no reason not to believe him. Do you? When a couple ventured into a lake on their 1-year anniversary, they set up their video camera to capture their celebratory swim. Little did they know they'd be capturing their last moments together. The couple was in the scenic region of Yemen. The footage shows the man setting up their video camera and entering into the water to join his wife. It appears, however, that the depth of the lake was not what either had expected. His wife was only waist deep, it appears, as she stands fully up upon greeting her husband. Holding hands, they seem to be playing and splashing each other. Then he takes a step deeper and goes under. He starts splashing around, as does his wife. It's unclear whether he had a hold of her, but both are soon being pulled under. The last thing you see is a hand reach up desperately and then stillness. A few hours after this happened, their camera was discovered near the lake by a passerby. In watching the clip, they witnessed the couple's final moments. The video was uploaded online where it went viral. It's a scary thought to have your final moments alive go viral on YouTube. It's incredibly sad that a happy couple passed away in such a disturbing manner. This short clip was taken at an unidentified prison that is most likely abandoned. This is an actual creature coming out of the darkness, or are the shadows just playing tricks on you? I will say that there are signs of editing. The dust is swirling a lot faster than normal, which makes me believe that this footage was sped up. It could have been a normal person dressed in all black, quietly walking up and then backing away, which would look very paranormal when sped up like that. Maybe the video was sped up for some other reason and is in fact real. A YouTuber named X Hauntings is recording a video of some home improvements in the basement when he records a bizarre white object traveling his way at a high velocity. Normally I would say that this could be a bug or a speck of dust, but X Hauntings also recorded this crazy voice as the object passes by. Tell me if you hear a woman's voice yell, "Get out," as loud as she can. In this next part, I have no idea. I would say dust, but dust particles do not act like this. This video was taken in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico sometime in 2015. The person filming had been hearing loud disturbances all around his house and grabbed a camera before running outside. He is trying to track the source of the movement. It sounds almost like a squeaky trampoline. Nervous birds are chattering loudly nearby. The cameraman zooms in on some of his backyard plants, but whatever is making the noise isn't hiding there. Suddenly, a series of loud bangs come from directly above. He swings the camera around and this is what he finds. What would you do in this situation? Maybe you'd scream, run for cover, or even grab a weapon. This cameraman stands frozen in place, however, too shocked to make a sound. Suddenly, the humanoid creature scrambles over the roof and makes a hasty escape. The person runs into the house and gets away. Both of them appear to be equally afraid of each other. If this long skinny creature is not CGI, then what could it possibly be? The unliving appears in this live stream, posted to TikTok by Luckman and Jay. A pair of guys are speaking to the camera, when behind them something mysterious photobombs their live stream. The robed figure over the young man's shoulder sports a dark face and a head covering. The boy moves in front of it for a moment, blocking the mysterious being from view. He then moves forward again and the figure has vanished. What is this thing? It almost looks like a statue of the Virgin Mary. But then again, where did it disappear to? I guess we're left with more questions than answers for this video. What do you see around this corner? Published by Arte Morbid and originally posted on TikTok by Haunted Wesley E. Manor. This short clip is just one more proof that the manor is truly haunted. In a very dusty chamber of the castle, watch the corner of the arched doorway closely. What appears to be the figure of a small boy with glowing eyes peeks out for a moment before pulling back behind the barricade. He seems to be hiding. Is this a ghost? Or some small kid playing tricks in the castle? Most in the comments think it doesn't look human and call it very creepy. What do you think? I think we are going to be left with more questions than answers for the time being. It's past midnight at a police station in Pahang, Malaysia. A quiet crew plays chess to help pass the time, completely unaware of something that stays 2 moves ahead.
Astagfirullah, ya Allah. Selesai. Keluar. Mana? Ya Allah. Azan.
The faint outline of a figure leaves them fearfully singing for protection and clambering over each other to stay far away. A different police video taken 10 years later shows more scary things that are just beyond creepy. In the darkness looms a mysterious figure, not wearing a reflective vest like everyone else, that also does not reveal any detail whatsoever, even when directly under the high-powered beam of a police flashlight. Not to mention those crying noises coming from the woods. It could be speakers, but I really doubt the police would be wasting time faking paranormal videos, so either this is a joke being played on them, or else these scary ghost videos are actually real. I want to get the opinions of people from Malaysia, where this video was made, to help me decide if these creepy videos are real, or part of a viral trend, or what. Either way, you know the paranormal activity is bad, when even the police are too afraid to do something about it. Not that there's much they can do. What would you do if the downstairs lights of a supposedly empty building next door kept turning on and off? Redditor JC1 posted this video to r/ghosts, writing, "The model apartment next door to mine has a 10-minute timer on all the lights, so every time the front door is open, the lights automatically turn on. When I showed the video to the maintenance men, they said they got chills and had to go buy some salting candles. This video shows the lights switching on and off of their own accord. Well, not altogether unexplainable, it is unnerving. Some in the comments of this video suggested faulty wiring or a bad sensor. A union electrician says this is pretty common in model houses, as they're not built well. Others get scared by something moving, which turns out to be a tree branch. But the question remains, what if someone or something is opening the front door? The maintenance men are right, it's time for some salting candles." This home in Bethel, Washington, has been overtaken by an evil force that refuses to go away. Paranormal experts from all over the world have been baffled by their findings, like this team for example. First, motion sensors repeatedly detect movement in areas where nothing is visible to the eye. What's especially weird is how the tripwires stop beeping whenever the investigators are near. Grunts, growls, and strange laughter echo throughout the house as well. Here's an example of the same laugh caught on multiple cameras.
You maybe direct it a little bit better.
All of the noises sound like they are the right distance away in each shot, so this is probably real.
Rocking chairs moving on too.
This YouTuber's house is so haunted. His possessions act possessed even when brought outside. Take this rocking chair for example, which he records moving on its own.
Not really that windy.
When he looks around at 1 minute and 20 seconds, you can see the flowers and trees are still. Nothing is blowing in the wind because there is no wind. Yet he makes a request to move the chair again. The ghost tilts the chair forward one time to confirm that yes, it is in fact there and fully aware.
Can you rock it some more? Seems we got a visitor.
Gorman Sujin is inspecting his new apartment with a camera to document any damages left from the tenants before him. He gets through all the rooms and the balcony without problem, but after reviewing the video later, he realizes that he is far from being home alone. A woman in white appears suspended in midair. I don't see a rope, but I will say she is next to the shower rod, and her feet are not touching the ground. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what became of the last person who lived here. A YouTuber named Florida McKee uses Google Maps to hone in on a frozen discovery in Antarctica.
You have to look at this very closely.
Peeking out from the middle of a frozen pond is what appears to be a sentient ice creature. I can somewhat make out a giant head and left arm, but I'm not sure. Let me know if you can see it.
This is only about 170 feet long, so this easily makes it very, very likely that it's a known animal, a known creature.
It's hard to tell if this is an actual creature or not just by looking at a single still image, but I do agree it could be some sort of abnormality. My only other guess is a cluster of ice above the surface. Dom Soto is making a vlog in his bedroom when an urgent knocking sends him rushing to the front door. Dom Soto actually opens the door for this masked stranger, which automatically makes me think this video could be scripted, because I think most people would have kept it locked. Then again, maybe he didn't think this was anything serious at the time, or maybe he couldn't understand what the person was trying to say through their mask. Whatever the case may be, they have a short and tense exchange.
Let me in.
No,
I'm your biggest fan.
Get off my property, dude.
Eventually, Dom Soto convinces his biggest fan to leave, only to have him unexpectedly return moments later at the window. By this point, it's obvious that Dom Soto is not going to get rid of this intruder without help from the police, so he turns off the video and goes to call them. If this is real, then no update has been given on the situation for well over a year. Beware of randos crossing the road at night, especially if they look like they've just escaped an asylum. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, this creepy clip was discovered on YouTube and originally posted in May of 2020. A couple of men are driving down a highway near Riga one night when they slow down for a stray individual to cross the road. It's not clear if the person is a man or woman. Whatever the case, they've got long dark hair and are only wearing a large oversized white shirt. The pedestrian slowly starts to cross as the men pull to a stop, but the stranger stops halfway and turns around to face the vehicle head on. For a moment they stand there before heading again on their way. Those in the comments are flabbergasted as the driver from the video, with some saying that's obviously a witch, while Sony Bravo adds, I was expecting her to lash out, to be honest. Talk about an anticlimactic ending. In this ghost investing collaboration, members of the Holy Walkers, Urban Ghost Urban Explorations, and 539 Productions team up to check out some abandoned properties in the woods at night. They are close friends, and so it becomes a lighthearted exploration full of laughs, but they do miss two things. One of them happens during a passing moment of silence.
You can see a Joe in his native environment.
I don't know what that is, but I do know it sounds large and close by, and during this exact moment appears two green eyes that look like they could be leaves at first, except they aren't touching the tree next to it, and they aren't pine needles like the rest. Believe it or not, the same face appears behind a screen window exactly 5 minutes and 10 seconds later, so I don't think they necessarily found a ghost, but something was probably out there with them, and if they ever return, they might be unlucky enough to find it again, and next time it might do more than just watch. Two ghost hunters from a UK channel called Paranormal Hauntings go exploring an abandoned building called the Ye Old Harrow Inn, a place well known for paranormal activity. Investigating the front desk leads to this moment of spooky tranquility.
Just gonna turn that off. A minute.
Their camera has caught an abundance of orbs in this area. In this area alone, including one extra bright orb that outshines the rest, a spirit they claim. Dust covers everything they've been exploring in this abandoned place, so maybe that was it. The ghost hunters unpack their equipment and capture some rather scary EVPs on video. Something in the next room over speaks to them from the darkness.
That looks creepy. I can see her.
Are you down the corridor?
A woman whispers to take her hand. Apparently, she's sitting in the doorway, watching, and maybe even reaching out for them. This video shows a concerned sister checking in on her sleeping sibling. I'm not sure why she would be holding a camera to do so, but I guess she wanted to record the moment. A girl she has never seen before is hovering over her sister's bed without saying a word, and when she turns to leave to get help, the ghostly child teleports in the doorway to block her.
Are you alright? Oh my god!
The girl standing in the door does look like the same girl who is just standing by the bed. They are wearing the same outfit and have the exact same hair length and color, so I guess it's possible that this was a spirit. Then again, if this was staged, then maybe there was a second girl who was standing in the doorway the whole time to make it look like they teleported. There's nothing more disturbing than the sound of an unexpected and unknown siren. What could possibly be impending? A tornado tearing through the town? What are we being warned about? Posted by Epic Memer Boy 0123 to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the uploader writes that he started to hear sirens randomly midday. In the clip, the sirens sound quite high-pitched, almost like a car horn beeping long and restlessly. Several in the comments suggest it's a test siren of some kind, either for tornado warnings or other emergencies. The Redditor clarifies that it lasted for around 10 to 15 minutes. Superman Connor writes, "That definitely sounds too long to be a tornado siren then." When the Redditor mentions that a friend said it was an air raid siren, Superman responds, "Those only last about 30 seconds." It seems the Redditor isn't the only one suffering from unknown siren syndrome. The Wastelander 96 writes, "Something similar happened near here a couple nights ago when the sirens just went off for like 10 to 15 minutes and then just stopped. Perhaps it is an emergency siren that they are testing, but for a different kind of emergency. Wonder what that could be." A TikToker named Sarimar Munez finds herself laid out across the floor in surprise at this ghost sighting, which she is about to point out in a moment. She is singing a musical when a small gray face pokes into the shot and then retreats. The way it moves on its way out looks better than most edited videos, so either she put a lot of effort into this one, or as much as I wish it wasn't, maybe it's real. A YouTuber named Herb Doggy is diving underwater when he sees a small cave that looks interesting. In less than a minute, he is being chased out by something that's not even human. A giant moray eel slithers out of its hiding hole and appears to chase Herb Doggy away, though I'm not entirely sure. I would like to know how territorial these creatures are, and if they really would chase someone away. I'd also really like to know if this was an electric eel or not, in which case I totally understand why Herb Doggy was in so much of a hurry to get out of there. What would you do if you came across this chilling scene at night? Well, because there's a sign on the side of the road that reads "Free Cat." If it's there to lure unsuspecting people in, it's done its job. As these three stop their car to check out the makeshift animal shelter. As the trio approach the sign, they realize they're looking at something truly horrifying on a dark, deserted road at night. They conclude that whoever did this put the cats there because they're psycho. Couldn't agree more. Get out of there as fast as humanly possible. A TikToker named Erica R 1971 captures this full moon footage of a potential ghost sighting shortly after her father passes away. Knowing if this was a motion activated camera or not would have been a big help determining if this was a real sighting or just a glitch. If the camera really does turn on by itself like I think it does, coupled with the recent passing of her father, then I'd say this is almost definitely real. This one is especially haunting. Published to YouTube by TVR Exploring in December of 2019. The uploader explains that Ingolchek was a mining town that was abandoned twice, once by the dissolved Soviet Union, and then again by a foreign company that tried its hand to little success. But it wasn't the environment that surprised TVR Exploring, it was the encounter he had underground that he can't get out of his head. After TVR films the remote mountainside and the surrounding buildings, he heads into the mine, where he's looking at some rusted old gear left on a workbench. You start to hear howling from deep within the tunnel. There's water dripping, which drowns out the sound somewhat, but you can hear distinctly the otherworldly scream as TVR describes it. Although he's a self-proclaimed skeptic and doesn't necessarily consider the sound to be supernatural, TVR says all the hairs stood up on the back of his neck. After reflecting, he still doesn't know its source, and he asks his audience for their thoughts. Some say it's obviously a ghost or demon, others the wind, and still others consider it may be hydraulic. Although there's no definitive answer, everyone seems to agree that this man is extremely brave. Sensitive sensor lights can sense stuff invisible to the human eye, at least this one can. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Spread the Words, the Redditor shares that strange things have been occurring in his grandmother's house. One of these strange things involve orbs that seem to trigger the hallway sensor lights. This happened on more than one occasion. The short clip does show an orb rising into view, and instantly the hallway light turns on. Is this a paranormal event or merely a coincidence? Believers in the paranormal commonly think orbs are light energy that is somehow linked to the spirit world. Skeptics believe they're just air particles, dust, water, or other types of photography backscatter. But how do you explain dust triggering a light sensor? While there are plenty of skeptics in the comments saying this orb is just dust, others are prone to think otherwise. How would dust turn on a light? Aneronaut369 writes that he would assume it was dust if the motion light wasn't triggered by it, but every time the orb appears, the light turns on. Others observed that if the light sensor was sensitive enough to be triggered by dust, wouldn't the light always be on? Whose side are you on? A YouTuber named Cringy Parkour thinks he hears a scream from within the mouth of a sewer pipe and stands outside contemplating what to do. He walks into the pipe for about half a minute and comes across one of the most authentic looking creatures that I've seen so far.
What the Hello?
There's very little to make me believe this video is fake. You only see it for a split second, but the creature has glowing eyes and what appears to be long, sharp teeth. The audio really does match the overall timing of the video, and the creature's screams echo loudly and realistically as it gives chase. I really hope that this video is fake and that this was just one of his friends, but something tells me this was probably real. An urban exploration channel called Backyard Exploration has caught some scary stuff on video after taking a camera to an abandoned St. Louis mall. These scary moments caught on camera while exploring a dark movie theater in the mall have people wondering if this was a ghost, a glitch, or something else.
Horror movies. Nice.
The colors become scrambled at 9 minutes and 3 seconds, and again 4 seconds later, this time accompanied by an unnatural noise. I think this part was probably edited as a joke because he is looking at horror movie posters shortly before it happens. At least that's what I think. Does this video look paranormal to you? A YouTuber named Bradinator conducts a risky social experiment to see what would happen if he pretends to be a Russian hitman in public. Bradinator doesn't actually speak Russian, but that doesn't stop him from walking around in a black suit and sunglasses speaking on his phone in a made-up Russian-sounding language. This alone is enough to draw some weird looks, but I think what alarms people the most is the steel briefcase he carries around and repeatedly makes a big deal over.
Excuse me, did anybody touch this case? Okay, thank you.
He never says it outright, but Bradinator seems to imply that something bad could be inside the briefcase. Maybe even a device ready to blow. Watch this part and tell me what you would have done if you randomly encountered this briefcase laying there.
Oh, excuse me, sir. Watch out for the briefcase. Watch out. That's nothing. Don't.
At one point, he apparently creates enough of a scene for the police to come and give him a stern warning. Listen to this part and tell me if you think it's real.
I was just with my friend. I'm gonna film a Russian hit. My prank.
You come back, I'm gonna take you to jail.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
The voice of the police officer sounds kind of young, and the radio dispatch sounds like it could be a sound effect. Then again, they do briefly record a police car with its lights on, so maybe they really did get told to knock it off by the cops. Mike Cass once used his drone to track the whereabouts of a clown on the loose in his hometown of Carlsbad, California. First, he finds someone who may or may not have been in a clown outfit wandering around this blown out building. It's somewhat difficult to tell from this distance, but I think they could be wearing one. Mike eventually finds this building, but no one's there, yet it looks like a strange man could have been behind him all along. Mike doesn't find another trace of them for almost a full year. Then one random flight session, it's back.
Yeah, so basically,
And once again, the hunt is on. This clown has been surprisingly good at hiding in the past, but Mike's drone sees it all. 4 days later, it finds itself cornered. I'm surprised Mike was able to see it, because I think it blended in well and looked like an animal at first.
Yo, what is that? Probably nothing. Yo, what the heck? Yo, oh my god, look at this!
With its bright red hair, I was wondering how this clown was able to hide it all, but when it lays down, it seems to only show black parts of its outfit. This would actually be impossible to see if you were on the ground, especially if you weren't looking. Walking by a clown lying in wait is not something I want to think about for long. Mike Cass chases it into the woods until power lines force him to back off. After being chased like that, the clown must have picked other places to stay because it was never seen or heard from again. A YouTuber named Mikey Mamps became fascinated with the legends of Clinton Road, a haunted place in New Jersey where everything from psychos to phantom trucks are said to chase people and sometimes even end lives. After an unsuccessful night of ghost hunting, Mikey Mamps decides to pilot his drone down the road during the daytime, figuring that the noise would attract the attention of whatever's out there. Sure enough, this odd fellow is walking down Clinton Road. It almost connects with the drone before Mikey flies out of range, at which point the clown takes off. Aside from the bright wig, their outfit blends in with the scenery surprisingly well, and they easily manage to slip away, knowing exactly where to hide. It's impossible to see where it is until it steps out for an ambush at the time of its choosing, a tactic I'm sure it's tried on countless people before. Mikey manages to avoid another rock, and the clown, realizing it's been outsmarted, decides to run again. It seems like it's been caught for sure, but then it does something that gives Clinton Road its supernatural reputation.
Where'd you go?
It seemingly disappears. There's not a lot of information available about this video, besides that it was broadcast live somewhere in Albania. Two radio personalities are having a spirited discussion when suddenly they are interrupted by something that neither of them can explain.
Pjesa më e madhe janë pushim dhe po e shijojnë dhe një ditë mrekullueshme që është përjashtë. Wow.
Ç'ishte?
A newspaper flies up on its own in the middle of their conversation, and you don't have to speak the language to see the genuine surprise written all over the man's face as it happens. Still, I would really appreciate it if anyone who speaks Albanian could tell me what was being said, or tell me more about their show if you recognize them. I've watched this video many times, and I see no strings attached to the newspaper or anything like that. Obviously, it can't be magnets either. So if it's not magnets or string, then what could it possibly be besides a haunting? Alright, I know that My Little Pony is not exactly the most frightening thing on earth, but pay less attention to the brand of the toy and more attention to what it's doing by itself without being touched. I guess the obvious explanation is that someone is underneath the table using a magnet, and a lot of people say the same thing. However, here's another video showing that there is no magnet on the bottom of the toy, so no one knows for certain. Breaking into a vehicle under the cover of darkness is common. Doing it directly in front of the car's owner, not so much. Published by Doorbell News in October of 2021, this crazy thief must have been seriously desperate. A woman is sitting outside her home in Phoenix, Arizona, talking on her phone as a toddler toddles around, doing baby things. While chatting, she looks up from her phone to find a man breaking into her friend Bubba's vehicle right in front of the house.
Hey! Hey! What are you doing? Bubba, is that...
The entire creepy event was captured on a Ring doorbell camera. You can vaguely see the man's white shirt as he approaches and then breaks into the vehicle. He didn't technically have to break anything as the car was open. The woman alerts her friend inside, who rushes out to see what's going on. The guard dog sets off a 12-bark alarm. Thankfully, the man wasn't able to take off in the vehicle before the police were called. In the description, the woman notes that he was taken into police custody. Definitely one for the books in my opinion. You don't see this every day. A person cautiously follows a winding road at night using only the light on their phone to guide them. They sense danger on the right and look over. Nothing is there, but their feeling of being watched does not go away. So they look over again, and that's when they make contact. A short creature with a portly body atop long legs does its best to escape the flashlight. At 1 minute and 36 seconds, we see that the overall gray coloring of the creature, when under the light, does match the rest of the background remarkably well. There's no obvious blurring around the edges of the creature either, which indicates that this may in fact be authentic, unedited footage. Something is living tucked away in this abandoned bunker. Published in December of 2016, Dima Maslenikov proves that you should always prepare to encounter the darkness within, even when you assume you're alone. While exploring what is supposed to be an abandoned bunker, Dima's camera captures something lurking in the shadows. In the moment, it appears as if all that lies ahead is darkness, but a close-up of the tunnel's depths shows what looks to be a face peering out at him. The features of the face are distorted and mask-like due to the bunker being so dark and the image quality inept to capture a clear shot, but the obscurity of the shot captured is creepy enough to give us pause. If you saw this, would you dare to dive into this bunker further? Surveillance cameras sometimes capture images you just can't handle. Posted by one Dante1 to the Sir Spook subreddit. You might want to stay inside at night after watching this clip. Dante explains that they put out trail cams because they lost their cat. While they were working out in their garage at night, they set off their motion detector and, a moment later, caught this on camera. The clip plainly shows the men working in the light of the garage. Night has fallen, and the rest of the scene is quite dark. That is, until a phantom spirit drifts into view. The vapor-like phantom has a human figure and flies in from the top right of the screen. In fact, it appears as though the figure strolls right into the frame. MuggleMad32 writes, "This is a really good capture of an apparition," while Explore with Sunny adds that it's pretty unexplainable. Is it truly unexplainable? If so, do you hold the key to the explanation? Unfortunately, this clip isn't longer, or we may have seen where this phantom is off to. Let's hope he didn't do anything to that poor cat. An office worker is sitting quietly at her desk when she throws down her phone at 1 minute and 18 seconds, which begins to flare up and sizzle. She leans over the device to clear her desk at 1 minute and 25 seconds, which I don't think was the right decision. If the battery pops here, her face is in direct range. They all gather around the broken phone and record it in case something else happens. It continues to sizzle from the middle of the screen, but other than that, it looks strangely fine. Try and translate what they are saying here if possible. This is it, the scariest forest to explore in terms of ghost hunting. The location of this scary forest is far more well known than its actual name. That's because you have to go to the Romanian countryside of Transylvania to get here, the same place where the legend of Dracula began. Okay, so this place is called the Hoia Baciu Forest, and there's a good reason why not too many outsiders know about it. Locals believe that even mentioning its name is enough to curse you with a lifetime of misfortune, which is making me wish someone else narrated this video. Ask around for long enough and you might find somebody willing to tell you about a shepherd who, hundreds of years ago, went into this forest with 200 sheep to let them eat grass and never returned. Peasant villagers soon lost their lives to his vengeful spirit spirit, and the area's haunted reputation quickly spread. As more lives were lost, the number of ghost sightings continued to grow. I'm not going to get into all of the individual haunted forest stories because there are simply too many to recall, but here are 3 scary videos taken in the woods that are worth mentioning because they help back them up. The first video was taken by a YouTuber named Bregis on July of 2014, and it shows in the center of the woods a circular clearing where absolutely no trees will grow. In fact, trees have not grown here for hundreds of years, in a perfectly symmetrical circle, and nobody knows why. Maybe this is where the shepherd and his flock all perished. Whatever happened here, there's something unholy about this area that always makes visitors nervous. And to further prove my point, in the center of this circle are 2 evenly spaced patches of dug up earth that look like they could be unmarked graves. What do you think is buried here? Videos of these woods are scary enough during the day, but exploring the cursed woods at night is even scarier. On July 29th, 2017, a YouTuber named Tanner Roth thinks he's brave enough to withstand a 3 a.m. haunted forest challenge in Transylvania. The trees start to look twisted and creepy, so they know they are close to the forest's haunted heart.
See, it's how knotted it is. These knots don't happen anywhere else outside this forest. I guess it's another way that they were saying that the forest is Dude, it just got super cold over here.
The camera goes out of focus as if a spirit is face to face with Tanner, and a passing chill makes his nose run. In his words,
It kind of feels like we shouldn't be here.
I couldn't have said it better myself, especially based on what he sees shortly thereafter. Tanner Roth senses something near, and so he calls out for Anthony, his camping buddy. He feels especially watched here, and look at what happens at 4 minutes and 28 seconds. No sooner does he say somebody is messing with me when an odd red light shows up. Tanner finds Anthony passed out at the campsite, cozy as can be. Anthony didn't pass the 3 a.m. haunted forest challenge, so it wasn't him. Strange glowing lights are said to be a common occurrence in this forest, and one of the reasons why locals don't dare to go near. On April 14th, 2018, a paranormal investigation team from Italy called Aspid journeys to the center of the forest in search of a scare. This is what they find close to the haunted circle.
Sì, aspetta. Sì. Cazzo fischio urlato. Sì, nell'orecchio, non molla. Spero si sente. Baby, tieni solo la palletta. Oddio, un urlo! Di nuovo!
It kind of sounds like a frog to me, but maybe not based on what happens next.
K2!
Oh cazzo! Ci gira intorno!
As they strain their ears, they hear it again right as the K2 meter goes off, which makes it paranormal in my opinion. Sheep can make really shrill noises, so maybe it's the shepherd's wicked spirit. The pit crew runs some more experiments, such as asking the spirit to make their flashlight blink, which it does easily, and we no longer hear any animal noises at all during this time. The forest is eerily quiet. 5 minutes later, it decides to skip all of their testing and directly reveal itself.
Cosa?
Cazzo! Aspetta che tolgo gli infrarotti.
Togli gli infrarotti, se no non si vede.
Lo vedi? Lo prendi?
Much to their horror and to my fascination, the light they see is remarkably similar to the light that Tanner Roth saw a year prior, except for a noticeable difference in color. They both saw a sphere of light roughly the same size in the same area, and probably therefore the same entity. The fact that 2 different teams from 2 different countries nonetheless would record the same thing is all the proof that I need to conclude that this forest is probably beyond haunted. Since the legends are apparently true, I can only imagine what the repercussions are on them for witnessing it in person, not to mention what will happen to us for seeing it on video. According to this TikTok by elkakoi.tv, nothing is a coincidence. This couple was driving around when the boyfriend captured something on camera that sent chills down his spine. The couple later had a strange accident, which looks like it totaled the car. Here's what he captured in the seat behind her. Is it a demon? Some in the comments think it's odd that he would even take this random picture of his girlfriend, but others are pretty sure this is the girl's guardian demon. I'm with them on that. This video shows a phenomenon known as angel hair, in which strands of silk-like threads fall to the ground for several hours at a time. Scientists have tried to explain this as certain species of spiders migrating, though I don't see any spiders in this video at all. Stranger still, angel hair has been reported falling in areas that are freezing and have snow. If this really is due to spiders, then shouldn't there be activity in colder areas? A TikTok user by the name of Baddest Bunny on the block uses Rando Nautica in search of creepy stuff with a story to tell. The TikTok app takes them to one of the scariest Rando Nautica finds on this list. By a river near a bus station, they find a discarded tarp by a mound of freshly dug earth. Under the blue tarp is a shredded black trash bag, inside of which they find a shovel and an object covered in red. Before you think they put this here themselves, consider the fact that she calls the police, who take interest in the scene and actually collect evidence instead of shrugging it off. Based on their reactions, I think she might be onto something. Filmed in what appears to be an abandoned house, this explorer is searching out the lie of the jinn. Published by Paranormal Maya in March of 2022, the cameraman tours the home in silence when all of a sudden he starts hearing strange noises in the next room. He crouches down for a moment, waiting out the chaos. Then he approaches a previously empty room. Standing there is a mysterious cupboard set up with a mirror standing facing him. The man jumps back, wondering how this contraption could suddenly appear. He takes a step into the room, flashing his camera spotlight into the mirror. While standing there, he hears an EVP in Turkish that translates to "come from there." He kicks the mirror and the cardboard contraption over, stomping on it, and then pries a hanging horseshoe from the frame of the doorway. According to superstition, horseshoes hung over a doorway with their ends facing down means that good luck will spill over, stopping evil from entering. That doesn't appear to have worked in this case. Reddit, the origin of all things internet creepy. Redditor Kiaha alleges that the link to this video was emailed to her recently, writing, "I have no idea where this tape came from, but it truly does scare me." The video is titled simply "Unsettling" and was uploaded to YouTube by Igor ASD. It shows what appears to be an abandoned building being explored in the dark with a flashlight. After a bit of meandering, the shot comes across a sign that says in Russian, "Museum work," along with a schedule, likely listing the museum's opening hours. Around 2.5 minutes into the video is where the true creepiness happens. A shadowy figure appears in the shot of a doorway across a dark room. It walks through the doorway and the camera's light goes dark. The screen goes blue. After this, a series of images of a building appear, footage through a peephole, and the film's final image, a still figure in front of a glowing monitor. What is this piece? Could it be found footage? What do you think it is? I think it's certainly scary. Something's cooking in this kitchen. Published by Sasha 180683 in December of 2012. A poltergeist is startling this haunted resident. As the resident enters, a curtain that's hung in front of a washer and dryer keeps fluttering. Then a cupboard pushes open on its own, one of its doors thudding against the stove. The door swings closed and open, moving uncannily. The curtain again moves strangely around, and then back to the cupboard door. The cameraman slowly backs out of the room and then moves forward again, getting a closer look at the cupboard door and the curtain. No strings and the window isn't open. He shows the camera that it's 2 a.m. After closing the cupboard again, the door swings open, and the curtain plays around a bit more. What invisible energy powers this kitchen? A poltergeist would be my guess. Are there ghosts all around us? That's what Tesla's tracker technology has me thinking. Posted to TikTok by Piero1519. This Tesla owner entered a cemetery where his vehicle's technology detected life or non-life nearby. A figure can be seen appearing digitally on the car's screen, clearly ahead into the far right of the car.
And look at this. And nobody's there. At the cemetery. Wow. Wow.
So it shows it like a
Flashing his camera to the location indicated, Piero shows that there's no one there at all. All that's there are a couple of gravestones and an otherwise empty graveyard. Some in the comments are saying that the Tesla assumes the tombstone is a person, since it doesn't have a tombstone detection feature. But wouldn't the Tesla then detect people in anything human shaped that its technology hasn't been taught to identify? That would just be weird. TikToker Namaste says, ghost detection is an added feature of Tesla, but Leah Jordan takes a turn writing, it's all fun and games till it gets in the car with you. Let's hope that ghostly terror remained in its eternal bed. What would you do if the ghost that's haunting your house doesn't want to share it with you? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This Redditor writes, threw this edit together of me being haunted and I'm terrified. In the beginning of the clip, Mossy asks the spirit if he can please enter his room, and the door swings closed. We'll take that as a no. He hurries to open it and reveals that there's no one behind it or inside, as he mentions that his fan is turned off on its own. The fan flings itself from the table beside his bed. Lastly, he turns on his piano keyboard and asks the spirit to play a song. The spirit obliges, pressing a few random keys. Is this a harmless haunting, or is something more evil at play? Redditor Bestia Hermosa advises that the Redditor sweep everything out of this house. She writes, when you come back into your home, close the door behind you without looking back, outside your door in order to have any bad juju stay out, and no unwelcoming entities in your home. We hope Bestia's advice works. This spirit doesn't seem like he's interested in welcoming the living.
Oh my god.
Richard Griebnick recorded this creature from inside his home over the summer of 2017. He is on the phone calling a friend named Mike for help while a large, hunched-over white humanoid prowls around his backyard. The gargoyle, as Richard describes it, seems to sniff the air from time to time, almost as if it can detect someone's presence nearby. It certainly has the build of a predator, but for some reason it seems hesitant to move forward. If you were wondering why Richard would call his friend instead of the police, I was thinking the same question, but soon it becomes clear that Mike knows how to handle this situation better than anyone. The humanoid creature convulses as Mike unleashes a string of words in an ancient-sounding language I have never heard before. If you recognize what is being said here and can translate, please let me know. After Mike is finished speaking, the creature sulks off into the forest where it came from. The event looks very convincing, but I wish that Richard could have zoomed in a little more so we could have gotten a closer look. If this is real though, then he was probably way too scared to worry about camera work, so I definitely understand and still fully appreciate what he was able to record. YouTube team Rota X Investigaso Paranormal explores this haunting place where something horrible happens. As they walk in, they sense there's someone there. As he introduces himself, it sounds like someone runs off into the darkness. They get back to their investigation, addressing the spirits.
Boa noite. A presença que está aqui
É da alguém que partiu, que estava aqui na tragédia?
In one dark and scary room, their device goes off.
Maior. Por isso a equipe Rota X pede licença para estar entrando aqui.
And a second time.
Tá, obrigado pela sua resposta, tá bom?
And then a third time.
Tá, alguém faleceu aqui, né? E você poderia me dizer...
While the readings are interesting, I'm more intrigued by the person they sensed in the building who seemed to escape. While entering a deep dark cave, these brave souls nearly left their skeletons behind. Good gravy, what is that? You can see the creature momentarily as they enter. But for some reason, this encounter doesn't send them running for the hills. And then, not long after, this happens. That hissing is somehow more terrifying than a deafening roar. And the figure's features are equally horrifying. The fact that they didn't leave on the first sighting of the creature makes me think this is fake, but as we only caught a glimpse on camera, maybe they just didn't see him in the darkness. If it is acted, then it's an incredible fake. This one will make you scream and give you nightmares. Posted by Sermi127 in September of 2007. This YouTube video went so viral that it prompted this YouTuber to create a pantry ghost documentary. Sermi writes, "It has been 5 months since the last sighting of the ghost in my pantry. I filmed the door myself at 12:34 every night for 4 months, waiting for some paranormal activity. On September 19th, I capture what may be the first real ghost video proof. So let's take a look at this proof. The beginning of the video shows the pantry door opening of its own accord in the darkness. The man filming walks towards the door and shuts it, and as he backs away, a freaky figure presses its face and hands against the glass of the door. As he backs up, the horrifying thing disappears for some reason. He then approaches the door again, jerking it open, but there's nothing there. The contents within the pantry appear untouched. Did your hair stand on end? Did you scream? Some in the comments of this video did. This video had me afraid of what might be lurking behind the closed doors in my plate." Joe Pacini is obsessed with a singer named Sarah Bareilles, and he believes their destiny is to be together forever. He makes a bizarre YouTube video ranting about how members of the occult, the CIA, and the FBI are all working together to frame him and keep this romance from happening.
Clearly these guys want me dead. We're in prison. And there's no way I'm going back to prison. Nope.
The video is hard to understand because of his disjointed, rambling logic, but apparently there was some kind of incident at the local gym, and now a police detective is calling Joe's number.
Hello, my name is Matt Huffnell. I'm a detective with Haverford Township PD. I'm trying to reach Joe Pacini concerning an incident report that was made at the LA Fitness here in Havertown. Joe, could you give me a call at your earliest convenience?
This simple request sends Joe over the edge. Instead of calling the investigator back, Joe makes a series of YouTube videos threatening the investigator along with his entire department.
You want to try to bring me down? I will kill you and your whole family, alright? So go ahead.
Joe switches from calm and collected to yelling and screaming as he tells everyone to back off. He eventually calls the detective back and leaves a message telling him to check out his YouTube channel for more information. The police eventually find Joe driving around and immediately pull his vehicle over. According to their report, Joe backed his car into a cruiser and they took his life immediately. I was never able to find out what happened at the gym, so if you know why the police initially contacted him, then please let me know. This footage was supposedly taken by a 911 caller and later edited to include his actual 911 call. The caller starts out by saying he's hearing some strange noises in his basement. and this ghostly basement sighting is what supposedly caused him to make the call. Look closely, and you will see that this does appear to be a shadowy figure from another time period. I personally see someone from the Victorian age, perhaps a woman with a large dress and oversized hat. He runs upstairs and makes the call after seeing her. Then again, if this video was real, then I don't know how he would have gotten a copy of his own 911 call. I could be wrong, but I think those are private records and generally unobtainable. There are also sound effects that are obviously put over the video once he sees the ghost, so maybe this is just a prank after all. It could be computer effects or even a mannequin. Did you ever think maybe your child or younger sibling is possessed? This video was posted to Reddit with the title, "No idea if this was the monitor or the kid is possessed." The video shows the demon baby standing at his crib, his eyes glowing red, a common occurrence in baby monitors, but it's the way he starts moving around that has the Redditor wondering if it's possession. The baby starts swaying back and forth rapidly before he holds very still and then turns his head all the way around unexpectedly. He then rests his head on the crib edge before sinking back down, hanging there, simply staring at the monitor. Other Redditors attempted to explain the possession. Jackal449 suggests footage lag from motion. Otherwise, most arrive at a general consensus that this is normal baby behavior. What do you think, normal or not? Whether normal or abnormal, seeing this in your baby monitor would be sure to creep you out, maybe even enough to make you scream. This video very quickly turns into one of the worst fears that I think most people have, your parents walking in on you doing something embarrassing. This is believed to be a Twitch streamer from Russia, but I was unable to track down who this streamer is. If you know, let me know in the comments. But anyways, she's in the middle of lip syncing a Japanese song for the viewers watching her Twitch stream. That's when she hears her door opening. She quickly jumps to turn the music off, clearly embarrassed he's just walked into her stream. Apparently, this is her stepdad, and they have a short conversation before she starts closing the door on him. It's always been a fear of mine to get walked in on while singing along to my favorite songs, but I can only imagine how worse it would be to have it happen while in a cosplay outfit and live streaming. It might be time to buy a lock. This place is terrifying. YouTuber Terror Alex Streamo encountered tons of paranormal activity at this haunted playground. First, they hear children's voices in the darkness, and then they see a swing swinging on its own.
Ay, mira, hijo. ¿Qué pasó, pa? Mira. Ay, mira, hijo. ¿Qué pasó, pa? Mira.
Next, another childlike voice is heard.
No manches. No manches.
Then something bangs against the roof above.
Whoa.
And the children's voices are heard again.
Pues es algo ilógico, ¿no? O sea, no está haciendo bastante aire como para que se esté moviendo de esa manera. No, pues no está haciendo aire, hijo.
And again here.
Y mira, ahorita está como si nada.
Finally, they capture something visible on camera. Later, another figure is moving through the tall brush.
Algo va pasando, ¿ya viste?
I'm not sure if the figure is a child, but the voices throughout the video definitely sound like it. Is this a case of the urban legend of black-eyed children? I wouldn't get near enough to find out. Things get loud in this poltergeist paradise. Posted to TikTok, the original footage is from Dark Ghost Paranormal. In the clip, someone is wandering through a clearly haunted house. You can hear repeated banging before you can see the creepy poltergeist in the act. The culprit in the kitchen cupboard, whose door is banging over and over again. It seems like it will never end, but all of a sudden it stops. As the person steps into the kitchen, a deep gong is heard from another direction. They whip around and are looking toward a refrigerator, but there's nothing there. Although there's thankfully no jump scare, there's certainly something going on in this poltergeist paradise. J-Game has been having problems with a stalker lately who has been coming around his home dressed like a clown. He is pretty sure it is just some local high school students who watch his channel, but lately they've been growing bolder and now something new has pushed him to his absolute breaking point.
Okay. I'm scared to be in my own house like that. That's a problem. This is Max. This is Max.
One day, he returns home only to find a creepy letter inside of a tattered envelope with red stains all over. The outside says, "We followed you home," and the inside says that they are going to come for him at 2 o'clock. Instead of calling the police, J-Game decides to handle this problem himself. He keeps his camera rolling and waits at home all day for them to come over. Hours later, 2 loud bangs from outside send a jolt of adrenaline coursing through him. Instead of rushing out the door, he sneaks upstairs to get a better look at his adversary. He sees someone dressed like a clown with a scary mask and bright orange hair. The person doesn't look very large, maybe about the size of a high schooler, but it's the menacing posture combined with the baseball bat that keeps J-Game away. He waits a long time before going outside, where he finds the gate has been left wide open. It seems like they are gone for the time being, but who knows when they will be back again. Shared in the subreddit Paranormal Videos, this now deleted user picked up a disembodied voice on her dog cam, speaking a foreign language. Have a listen. Did you hear that? The Redditor notes that the camera was placed on the mantle, and there's nothing behind the camera but the chimney. Some in the comments note that both of the dogs are looking at something in the room, and one of them looks terrified. The voice sounds almost like it's hissing in the end. I'm not sure what's going on here, if this is paranormal or there's someone in the home, but I do think I'd be setting up more cameras after hearing this. A YouTuber named Saltwater Sean is exploring underwater in Lower Prospect, Nova Scotia, Canada, when he makes a startling discovery that has him holding back a frightened scream. Dolls, freaky ones. He can hardly stand looking at these dolls long enough to capture them on video. I think I might see them moving ever so slightly, but it could be the wind that's moving the dolls.
We've got these 2 super creepy dolls that scared me underwater when I found that one on the right there. That really kind of gave me a scare.
I probably unearthed an ancient curse or something, Sean writes in the description of this scary video. Judging by the evil stare of these 2 pale, creepy dolls, one with red eyes and the others being jet black, I think he could be correct about that curse. Somebody probably threw them in the water for a reason is all I'm saying. This YouTuber shakily records their apartment while inspecting every last corner. It's obvious that they no longer feel safe here and want to record for proof. Nothing is out of the ordinary until they silently cross into the bedroom, and that's when the horror is revealed. A girl with long black hair over her face sits crumpled on the floor. Look again and you'll see that even her arms and feet have no detail at all, like a silhouette. When he checks again to make sure he is not seeing things, he's surprised to find she is all gone. What looks like a routine traffic stop suddenly becomes extraterrestrial within the blink of an eye. A police officer asks for a license and registration when things take an unexpected turn. The police officer looks normal up to this point, but then he makes a slight moan and hunches over. You can see all that is left is a smoldering pile of ashes. I can't tell if his clothes were disintegrated as he was beamed into a ship, or if he was simply disintegrated by an energy force field. This could be scripted, but the text in the bottom right and the police chatter both seem authentic, so maybe this video is real after all. If anyone understands police code and knows what they are saying in the background radio chatter, then please let me know. Maybe it can help us solve this strange video. A Russian police officer is roaming the snowy countryside when he comes in close contact with a creature that has since never been identified. The officer is traveling at a low rate of speed when suddenly something huge dashes across his headlights. The strange figure is only visible for a moment, then it's gone. Many YouTubers suspect this to be a Russian Yeti. Others are sure that it's a man in a suit or even someone who is completely naked, though this theory is hard to believe because a person in Russia would probably freeze to death if they stood outside naked for very long. Look closely and you'll see that whatever it is, it's moving quite fast. It only takes the thing about 5 or 6 steps to fully get away, and I should mention that the snowbanks on both sides of the tracks appear to be very deep. An average sized person would be struggling way more to get over them. Zoom in and you'll see what looks to be white fur hanging off of its body. Also, it looks to be hunched over and its arms almost touch the ground. If this is a costume, it's very convincing. Ethan Menard and his friend are out exploring when they find a long tunnel that gives off a creepy vibe. When they are commenting on how dark the tunnel is and just trying to keep calm in general, when suddenly a small child's voice chimes in somewhere behind them.
It's like pitch black in here.
The timing of this creepy small voice is quite a curious and morbid coincidence. It simply says hello at just the right moment during a pause in their conversation.
It's like pitch black in here.
Whether this was real or edited is up for you to decide, but I think there is a strong chance that something paranormal was down there. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by a sleepad8673, this redditor wrote, Rando Nautica at its finest. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Oh, it smells horrible. Oh, yeah. It's in the middle of the woods.
So the keys have to be in the
Yeah.
kitchen, right?
Yeah. The lights came on.
It appears this redditor stumbled upon a creepy abandoned car in the middle of nowhere with the help of Rando Nautica. In the comments, Chi Jojo said, "This is like the third Rando Nautica video I've seen of cars being abandoned in the middle of the woods. One had a child's voice coming out of nowhere saying, 'Do you want to play?' Strange indeed." To which the redditor who found this car replied, "I'm so glad there's no audible EVPs asking me if I want to play, especially a child's voice. For some reason, that's even creepier. Somebody on Reddit helped me get the VIN number and ran it. Came back with an alert for a reported stolen vehicle, so it appears this abandoned car was stolen. Now the question on my mind is, who took the car and left it here?" Earl Kirkendall captures a bright light in the sky, but it's not a meteor, lightning, or an unidentified flying device. It's his poor neighbor's house erupting. This video is terrifying because of how calm everything is before, during, and after. There's no warning signs beforehand, and seconds later, you'd never know a family's entire livelihood has gone up in flames. Even scarier, a cause for the incident has yet to be determined, meaning anyone in the neighborhood could be next. Gavin Free and Meg Turney are a married couple who have experienced a lot of success on YouTube, most notably with a channel called the Slow Mo Guys. Among their millions of subscribers, however, was one fan who somehow developed an insane obsession with Meg Turney in particular. His name was Christopher Giles, a man who wrote hundreds of personal notes to himself about the married couple, most of which revolved around taking out Gavin, who he saw as direct competition to Meg. One day, he can no longer contain his rage and drives a full 11 hours to their house to get even. He breaks in and searches for them for a long time, but Gavin and Meg managed to successfully hide in the closet and call the police. Apparently, Christopher fires randomly throughout the house for a long time before giving up and leaving, at which point he makes contact with the police at the front door. Christopher Giles passes away during this confrontation. I'm just glad the police were able to arrive in time, because I have little doubt that he would have come back later to do the same thing. A man is driving down a haunted road in Hawaii when he sees a pale beige orb on the left side of his camera.
No idea what that is on my screen. It looks like a ball of light on the left.
I thought it was just his finger until I realized it was semi-transparent and slightly changing shape.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I have no clue. There's nothing there.
Watch this part and you'll see there's no way that this is his thumb. His passenger points at something on the side of the right, and their hand actually appears in front of the orb. The weird circle continues to hover in the corner for a full 3 minutes. It does not fade or go away even when they pull over, turn off the lights, and step out of the car into darkness.
It's still there. It's moving. It's still on the left. And I don't know what that...
If you have any idea how an orb could stay so plainly visible even without a light source, then let me know because I am honestly stumped. A YouTuber named Wet Tent takes a friend and goes exploring a tunnel. They find creepy but aren't sure if it's haunted. There are 2 entrances, so Wet Tent goes down one and his friend goes down the other.
Hey!
He finds his friend face down and not responsive, and the video suddenly cuts out, which is what somebody would probably do if this were real. According to Wet Tent, his friend eventually regained consciousness and had no recollection of what made him pass out. It might have been the air quality, but I don't think so because Wet Tent didn't pass out. Whatever it was, it made him go down with a scream. Here it is one more time. Let me know if you think that was a real scream caught on tape because I'm not sure. YouTuber Stavanka, also known as Stephanie from 90 Day Fiancé, is certainly no stranger to having bizarre moments caught on camera, but nothing could have prepared her for a creepy surprise like this.
I don't really talk about paranormal stuff on my channel.
The reality TV star thinks she could have possibly caught real evidence of a paranormal ghost sighting on her home CCTV system. Let's analyze the events and see if this spooky encounter is real or fake. One night, while entertaining her family, Stavanka casually opens up the security app to check her CCTV cameras. That's when she discovers some mysterious activity going on in front of her house.
Eventually it dawns on me like, that's the figure of a person.
Within 10 seconds, the bizarre figure seems to transform into a solid white, ghostly floating form. Stavanka herself alternates between believing and not believing the activity is paranormal. I don't want to get anything wrong, so these are her exact words at 6 minutes and 10 seconds.
I think it's a ghost. Everyone I've talked to, everyone I've showed it to, even skeptics are like, that's a ghost.
So she thinks it's probably paranormal, which is fair, but I do have a theory. The porch light and the lamppost are reflecting light back into the camera, which could create this bizarre effect in the middle. But with that said, Stavanka has tried to recreate this scary moment many times, and she has a legitimate question.
Maybe it was a glitch, but then like if it was a glitch, then why did it stop? Like, why did it only happen that one night?
I can't say for sure, but I suspect that one of the lights was out when she tried this again. I think both of the lights have to be on at the same time for this bizarre occurrence to happen. But if she did replicate this under the exact same lighting conditions and saw nothing, then it would prove that this is a mysterious figure caught on tape after all. This radio DJ is live on air when all of the lights go out. Some of his equipment is still on though, so this is not a normal blackout. He is all alone and doesn't know what to do, so he calls someone for help, probably a management at home or technical support. That's when a cloaked figure passes by the window and makes him put down the phone. He creeps to the window and looks down the hall. Whoever it was is already gone. The next call he makes, I'm sure, is to the cops. According to him, this radio station has very high-tech security that requires thumbprint authorization to get in. Nobody should have been walking around after hours, especially not somebody dressed in ancient robes with their head down. Under the ancient city of Taif, Saudi Arabia, is a scary haunted cave tunnel that you don't ever want to go exploring by yourself. Famous ghost hunter Abdullah Al-Anbari has made a career out of fearlessly exploring such haunted places, but the question remains, will this haunted place scare him?
في شيء بسم الله الرحمن أنا مستخدم كشاف الراس.
So far, he's kept his cool among some scary things. Exploring the tunnel some more reveals that it's been walled off, and yet just when the ghost hunter decides to turn around and go back, something paranormal beckons him to stay. The cave is suddenly filled with scary noises and a strange mist that wasn't there moments before. He waits for some more activity and finds nothing. Apparently, he is braver than the ghosts once more and leaves victorious. This video could be paranormal unless they somehow figured out a way to get on the other side of that wall to make the noises themselves, though I don't happen to see one. A small flying white cylinder has been spotted multiple times in this Area 51 mountain range. I don't think this is CGI because the video quality does not look blurry at all and is pretty good for the mid-90s.
This is just about the same area, a similar metallic object.
Keep in mind that this was decades before drones were available, so it can't be that. The UFO is also too big to be a remote-controlled helicopter, which was pretty much the only thing that could hover like this back then. So I definitely agree that this could be a UFO. A man on a train awakes to find someone staring at him in a weird way, a ghost in the window to be precise. The pale figure doesn't move, supposedly locking eyes with the passenger, who at this point is beyond creeped out, feels watched, and thinks this is some scary stuff to wake up to. When zoomed in, it could be the reflection of something inanimate, though of what I'm not so sure. Whatever it is, the transparent outline of a face is still visible nonetheless. If you still can't see it, look on the right side of the window and you'll see a weird face with a long, narrow nose and all black eyes pressed against the glass. I assume the person who caught this on camera takes this train often and has never seen anything like this before. So what could this strange sighting be? Keep your eyes peeled for this one. YouTuber Crypted Encounter shares this scary video of an unknown creature in the darkness. Did you see it? Watch for the closet. What is that thing? The creature's eyes are glowing. Human eyes don't do that. Is this some sort of nocturnal cryptid species? I think it might be. Its skin looks reddish, although that may just be the light. It otherwise looks human, but somehow not human. This toy is apparently possessed by a spirit who wants to imitate whatever its living counterpart does. Here you can see the toddler sitting on a toy truck, so the spirit decides to do the same.
All around that toy. There it goes again, there it goes again. Yep, there it goes again, there it goes again.
Orbs dance all around the yellow toy truck as its wheels slowly creep forward, almost unnoticeable at times. At one point, a larger orb seems to trace the outline of the truck itself in a zigzagging pattern. And maybe it's just me, but it looks like the child notices something too. I'm pretty convinced that this is a real paranormal counterpart, but I'm definitely open to other logical explanations, so be sure to tell me what you think is happening here. It's 2 at night when this doorbell cam captures something that really shouldn't be possible. Pay attention to the area by the white railing to see it. Some kind of smoky blur appears out of nowhere and paces back and forth twice before disappearing. The uploader insists that this is a ghost, and I agree that it is a strong possibility. Look again and it almost looks like a large head accompanied by 2 hanging arms, or at least that's what I see. Let me know if you can see it as well. A YouTuber named Teddy Sakavive goes to check out an abandoned house but doesn't get any further than the front porch. First, his friend says that he sees someone's face looking down at them from a window above.
What the f is me, dude?
Teddy doesn't believe his friend until he shines the flashlight at the window and catches a glimpse of it for himself. It's hard to notice at first, but at the 27-second mark he does manage to capture the brief image of a woman's face, her mouth hanging wide open in a silent scream. What's especially creepy is that there's no face in the window on the first pass of his flashlight. It is only when he passes over the window a second time that the face randomly appears. On this supernatural search, Alan from Procura Sobrenatural investigates a house in which no one has been able to live. Anyone who tries is driven out by paranormal activity. During a previous investigation, he captured a spirit at this door.
Captou um espírito aqui, ele estava aqui, por trás dessa porta aqui, espírito parado olhando pra gente.
This is the spirit. Still, he enters the house and inside he hears strange noises. To me, it sounds like something dripping. He breaks out the EMF meter in another room and again hears something.
Tem alguém aqui que quer se aproximar? Aproxima aqui do aparelho. Eu vou deixar aqui esse aparelho aqui, ó.
He also finds graffiti that warns not to enter.
Não entrar. Não entrar aqui. Não entrar aqui. Tá escrito aqui, não entrar aqui.
Although he didn't run into anything too spooky this time, I get a real creeped out feeling from this place, and I think he should probably heed this warning. There must be a reason why no one lives here. Rancor Slayer begins his video of a bare white basement wall. He says he and his sister were playing down in this basement with Nerf guns when he was pushed against this wall, which sounded hollow. He said this surprised him because there's nothing there in the plans of the house. He takes a drill to the wall, cutting a little hole to take a look. He then pokes a screwdriver through to make the hole cleaner. He cuts through the wall, digs through the insulation and says, "There is something here, but what is that something?" He says he feels cold air there, so there must in fact be something beyond. He clears the insulation out of the way. There's a piece of plywood behind it, and when he pushes the plywood over, he finds an entire hidden room. The room is rather large but short, so he crouches while exploring the area. In the corner of the room, there's a briefcase covered by leaves. "This is what I was imagining would be in here," he says. Inside, he finds Canadian money, Pez dispensers, toys which he says appear to be from the 70s, an old coin purse with old coins inside, some colored pencils, a Burger King pin, and a hockey ribbon. Some claim the video is fake, but this YouTuber says that this must be a time capsule because some of the money is sealed. He says his family has lived in this house for 16 years now, and the room had remained hidden all this time. So what do you think, staged or not? You decide. YouTuber Riot was putting his dogs to bed when he noticed his truck's alarm lights were blinking. The dogs also seemed upset by something. That's when he checked his Ring camera, only to find this. A strange blue object is floating across the yard. The YouTuber says he didn't see it with his own eyes. It then disappears behind a tree. Well, I wanted to dismiss this as a spiderweb at the beginning. It's harder to dismiss when it seems to move away and disappear like this. So what do you think? A spiderweb or something more cryptic? I think it's too close to call. Strange and mysterious sounds are coming from a hole in the ground that sounds like a hidden entrance to another world. These scary noises sound like some kind of evil ocean. It makes me wonder if water is nearby. With that said, I did notice that these strange noises were caught on camera during a windy day. So I'm hoping this is actually just wind rushing through some kind of construction tunnel for a pipe or something, and not a scary hissing creature. Redditor Doodle Poot isn't quite sure if this is paranormal or not. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, this ring footage captures something seriously sinister. Listen closely. Do you hear them too? Some in the comments think there's a demon at the door. Others think it's wind or distant traffic. This one's a toss-up for me. It sounds too much like breathing to discount it. What are these strange so-called light balls that keep setting this Redditor's cameras off? Redditor Spambone is wondering if the Reddit community has any theories. Well, let's see what we can come up with as well. Let's take a look. This goes on for 2 minutes. Sometimes 2 light balls appear simultaneously. Some say it's obviously a bug, others think it's a web of some kind. Still others say it's a laser pointer or a reflection of some other light source. Practically no one thinks this is an orb or paranormal in any way, and neither do I. I'm firmly in the spider or cobweb camp. What do you think it is? This home surveillance footage from 2009 shows the Jameson family acting strangely on their property in Eufaula, Oklahoma shortly before they disappeared. They can be seen making about 20 trips to and from their house without talking to each other at all. Some investigators even believe they were in a trance-like state. The Jamesons were not seen again for years until hunters found their scattered remains in 2014. No one knows what happened to them because their remains were too decomposed for forensic testing. The cause of their demise has never and probably will never be determined. So all that remains of their last days is this videotape. A doll that speaks is not mysterious, but a doll that speaks when it has no batteries certainly is. That's apparently exactly what this doll can do. If someone could please tell me what brand of doll this is, and also translate what is being said here, then maybe we can help solve this mystery. They examine the doll for a hidden battery compartment, and ultimately find nothing. What hides in the shadows can oftentimes be shadows themselves. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Mego White, the Redditor explains that she and her husband were away from home over a weekend and set up the motion detector Alfred camera app in their room for the surveillance. When they returned from their trip, they were met with this unusual and terrifying video. The clip shows a fuzzy bedroom backdropped by a doorway with either a light on beyond or a natural source of light casting inside the other room. That light shifts as something is apparently moving enough to set off the motion sensor. In fact, that something appears to pass right across the doorway, blocking out the light beyond for a moment. You can make out a distinct figure. It's more like a shadow or a vague or even invisible figure that still somehow manages to distort the light. There is definite movement, but from what, we can't know for sure. Redditor JJ740 asks if there was an intrusion, to which Meg answers that all the doors and windows were locked and nothing was missing. She also notes that strange things have been occurring in this house for a matter of months. Like what? Meg explains we can always see a shadow walking out of the office through the wall into my closet, and I always thought I was seeing things until we caught this on camera. She also says in another comment that her kids have heard people talking, and her 2-year-old has even started laughing at something in empty rooms of the home. A Redditor writes, "That's actually genuinely creepy." Of course, as with every potentially paranormal clip, you have your insect theories, but most agree that the clip looks legit and not edited or faked. What do you think? Are you freaked out? I certainly am. When you visit an abandoned hospital, you don't expect this to happen. Redditor Bored Guy Online posted this scary video evidence that he captured in the ICU. Keep an eye at the end of the hall to the right. Something mysterious is going on here. Being that all hospitals are likely haunted, maybe these doors aren't malfunctioning after all. If that's the case though, who is opening and closing this ICU door? He can see us, but we can't see him. I think it's time to leave this abandoned hospital and stay far away. You wouldn't want anything following you home now. Chip Chan is the name given to a South Korean woman who was discovered by the website 4chan. They found her live stream one fateful day and proceeded to watch every moment of her life for years. What they found was both curious and startling. For one thing, Chip Chan would often pass out in strange positions for over 12 hours and then do things like barricade her door closed with whatever she could find. She rarely left the apartment and appeared to be in a lot of distress at all times. 4chan eventually came across her blog and found out that she thought she was being stalked by the local police. She even says that they have implanted a chip into her that allows them to control when she sleeps and how she feels. Here's a video of Chip Chan silently screaming as they supposedly activate her implant and mess with her mind. There's no evidence that any of what she is saying is real, and as of now, people either completely believe her story or else think that she has a serious mental disorder. It hasn't been on in a long time, but maybe someone can translate the text on her page and make sense of what she is saying. All in all, nobody has been able to track her down to talk with her, and her identity is unknown. All we know is that somewhere in South Korea, a woman was recording herself all of the time as a way of exposing her tormentors to the world. Crazy George's Bridge is the name of a legendarily haunted location in Tennessee. This bridge overlooks the very same tracks that a man named George once wandered onto and met a terrible fate. Now George's angry ghost chases away anyone who says his name 3 times. Strange magic rituals are also said to be practiced out in the woods to honor his name, and so paranormal activity has become a regular occurrence over the years. Tonight, a brave YouTuber named Mads Entertainment is ready to settle the legend of Crazy George once and for all, and so he goes on a paranormal exploration of the bridge at night from the top to bottom.
Crazy George. Crazy George. Crazy George.
The sound of an approaching engine turns out to be nothing more than oncoming traffic. They refuse to give up the ghost hunt and try to address the paranormal directly by speaking into the night sky.
If anyone's here, you can come speak into my camera.
They are positive that these sound like the noises of a little ghost girl screaming in the woods, possibly a manifestation of black magic rituals in the past. I'm not so sure because I think it could be an animal. Here's the sound again. Let me know what you think this scary voice in the darkness belongs to. This footage was supposedly taken from a submarine lurking somewhere in the Greenland Sea. The crew is so fascinated with a school of fish overhead that they fail to see a much rarer creature directly behind them. A large webbed hand that is roughly 5 times larger than any human's slaps the glass before pushing away. It's almost as if the humanoid creature was toying with the submarine crew and wanted to make its presence known. However, one thing bothers me about this video. If everyone is so interested in the school of fish passing above them, then why is the cameraman focusing on his crewmate's reaction instead of the fish? This video could very well be scripted and CGI, although it also wouldn't surprise me if it really was legitimate. Only the submarine crew knows for sure. A reality show that can take a dark turn, Whale Wars follows the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society as they confront whaling fleets over environmental issues. The society is often faced off with a Japanese whaling fleet, year in and year out. By season 3, in the episode titled Sliced in Two, the two parties decide enough is enough, it's time to have it out. Up until this point, the battle has been confrontational, but not terrifying. The Sea Shepherd's arms of choice, paint, spud shooters, and noise disruptors. The whalers, strong and effective water cannons. This time, however, the whalers go all in, heading straight into the Shepherd's small ship. The Addie Gill is then, as the episode is so aptly titled, Sliced in Two. The ship lies and shatters on the open sea. The crew can't contact anyone via radio. It's one of the scariest moments in reality TV history. Even worse, the whalers start to lower an inflatable boat into the sea, likely to capture the crew and take them on board. The open sea is scary enough. Imagine being surrounded out there on the waters by your worst enemy. Luckily, the Shepherds are able to save their crew in time. Everyone survives, and no one is captured. A happy ending to another scary event caught live. The International Space Station is a floating research base built by NASA that orbits around the world. This footage was taken from cameras on the outside, and it has led many people to believe that NASA accidentally live-streamed alien contact on television. Everything looks normal when all of a sudden, a small number of UFOs casually travel from right to left across the screen. Stranger still is how NASA suddenly cuts away to a wide shot of the mission control room when this happens. They later claimed that the UFOs were ice particles, but perhaps there is another explanation. These guys are trying to communicate with a spirit at their clinic office, specifically Jen, to determine who they're talking to. They use flashlights.
We're gonna say, oh, I think it's cool with that. We're gonna say the alphabet, and whichever one your name is, can you please turn off the flashlight on that letter, okay?
When they arrive at J,
H I J.
Jen.
Yeah, it's Jen, I think, or something tied to Jen. It has to.
but another flashlight is directed by a second spirit.
Another one, right? That's a different spirit. Okay. K L M N. Okay.
They're trying to figure out which of the spirits wrote the note or were somehow connected to it.
If you're not connected to it, turn off your flashlight. Daniel's not connected to it.
So Jen is.
So Jen is.
I knew it, dude.
And finally, they ask Jen,
Jen, were you the one that wrote the note? Oh. Wait, but she's connected to it, so she doesn't.
You know who wrote the note? Were you here when they wrote the note?
although the Redditor doesn't explain in the comments what note he's asking the spirits about. According to him, Nathaniel once scratched him. I'm really not sure if he should be keeping the lines of communication open with an entity this aggressive. A Pakistani health and beauty channel called Beautify With Me recently caught a creepy sighting on video that has left them horrified. A hooded figure in black robes is caught on multiple CCTV cameras, haunting the outside of their house. It looks pretty scary until the figure walks by the first camera, at which point you can see they are wearing sneakers or some kind of modern looking footwear that doesn't exactly match the rest of their spooky outfit. Still, this video is a major departure from the rest of their channel, and this is a really weird video to fake a day before Christmas, so maybe it's real, not necessarily a real ghost video, but maybe a creepy stranger encounter caught on CCTV. Whatever it is, the mysterious figure hasn't shown up on her security cameras since, and hopefully never will. Jay Swingler is a YouTuber who claims to have been stalked for a long period of time in a very bizarre manner. He never sees his stalker face to face. Instead, they prefer to send Jay videos of himself that were taken without his knowledge, and some of these videos record very intimate moments of his life. Here, for example, is a random video of Jay fast asleep next to his girlfriend. It was apparently taken late at night through a window. To make things even worse, Jay says he has received these videos through the file sharing app called AirDrop, but by design both parties have to be within 30 meters of each other for the app to work, which means whoever sent this was very close by. I guess there's a possibility the video could be fake, but he seems genuinely fearful and truthful in his explanation. I think it is probably real, but I encourage you to watch the full video and let me know.
Ken1082 catches what he claims is a mysterious light that's not part of a storm. It almost has to be a storm, but a user named Combat points out a strange and creepy figure standing in the doorway when the lightning flashes. The lights flicker on and off in the room to reveal a person who was apparently standing there the whole time. Let me know if you see them and what you think it was. This video was posted on the Chills Narrators subreddit, so I wanted to know what you make of it.
While hiking in the woods of Slovakia, this hiker didn't realize he was being stalked until it was nearly too late. Published by Lion Plays Mobile in January of 2022, this hiker is capturing video in the woods as forest noises sound all around him. After a moment, you can see something large in the trees, rattling them aggressively. The unknown creature roars, and the hiker drops his camera downward and starts running. What is haunting the forests of Slovakia? Is it a bear or something out of a horror story? Isaiah Harris published his sewer exploration in March of 2018. Describing it as the utter most scariest video that I've ever recorded yet. He went on to say, "I think it was mostly because of the position I was in, and how much ghostly things I heard and seen. The first clip shows Harris along with 2 young accomplices exploring the underground sewer during the daytime. They make their way along a tunnel to an area with pooled water, which has frozen over with ice. In a second video of the sewer exploration, Harris, joined this time by his brother and sister-in-law, shows how they entered the sewer by lifting up a big iron storm grate and crawling under. The tunnel is filled with graffiti, and they jump down from this initial tunnel to a broader area. A ladder is also positioned there, suggesting that this area is a regular stomping ground for exploration. They continue on, and Harris explains to his crew that there will soon be a ditch with shin-deep water, and there may be a den beyond, as he found evidence of people living there once before. The ditch area is filled with ice and a layer of snow over top. Harris jumps down, breaking through the ice. The other 2 decide to turn back because they think they've heard something in the tunnel, but that's when Harris looks deep into the tunnel beyond and decides that he too wants to hightail it out of there. After he claims to have seen something down there, they start to make their way back, but pause when they hear a growling sound. Harris also notes that there's a handprint on the wall. As they arrive at the exit ladder, they also hear tapping sounds coming from within the tunnel. They manage to make it out of the tunnel without incident, but one does wonder whether the creature within was human or monster. It's every thrill seeker's worst nightmare. Published by Robbie8984 in January of 2012, this pair was strapped into an amusement park ride in Alton, Illinois, ready for the thrill of their lives when the belt snapped on one of their seats. As the ride takes off, the woman starts to panic when she sees her harness come unstrapped. Luckily, the harness doesn't seem to be necessary as the primary lock keeps her securely in place. Many in the comments say these belts are just fail-safe to give riders a sense of security. Either way, imagine seeing your sense of security come undone in the middle of being tossed through the air by a roller coaster. This YouTuber is trapped. The hungry beast shreds his backpack and smells more supplies up this tree. All it needs to do is get through this pesky human first.
Hey there. Down there.
Amazingly, the bear does as told and goes back down upon the hunter's request. I guess seeing a human talk up close like that must have freaked it out because the animal runs away before chancing a look back at the backpack laying on the ground and deciding against it. Of all the weird things I've ever seen caught on camera in the woods, this has to be one of the weirdest and scariest videos ever, because there's no doubt it's absolutely real. The ancient Ram Inn in England's Watton Under Edge is infamous for its devil worship and ritual sacrifice. YouTube team Ghost Raiders dives in to see if they can uncover any of this residual dark magic. Using paranormal devices, they try and get the spirits to communicate with them.
You make the K2 reader go off.
Oh,
We've got a cat ball.
we've got a cat ball going off.
The spirit seems to be playing around. In another stony room of the inn, there appears to be a demon face escaping the stone.
There is a face, or what looks like a face, but it is just obviously how the bricks and soot, I would imagine, have sooted up the wall, but yeah, it does look like a face.
It makes you wonder how such a face formed. Later, while using the Estes method, Holly feels unsettled.
Feel on the mask, like pressure around that physically being moved.
During a ritual ceremony to free her from her demon, she becomes overwhelmed with emotion.
Jesus, here she goes. It's a lot of spirituality.
It seems to me that a spirit somehow entered Holly through the Estes method, only to be released through this ritual, and the feeling and release of the incident looks incredibly painful. A YouTuber named Exploring with Felicity is exploring an abandoned house when her solo paranormal investigation goes very wrong. She thinks she hears spooky and creepy noises upstairs, and I do too.
Very creepy.
Whatever it is, it doesn't sound like a wild animal.
I'm just trying to get used to.
She makes it to the second floor and is about to go to the third when a spectral figure passes by. We don't get to see if this was a real ghost sighting or a scary stranger dressed in all black because she is too busy running out of the abandoned house to get a closer look, which to some is all the paranormal evidence needed to conclude this scary video is probably real. Residents in Tallahassee, Florida, feared for their lives when this strange and haunting sound echoed throughout their area for over 20 minutes.
It's not back that way, it's up in this corner. Don't go out there.
There's little doubt that this video is real, as you can hear the fear in the family's voices.
Get the kids in the bathroom.
I hear the wind.
Get the kids in the bathroom.
Get in the bathroom. Get.
I thought it was a tornado, but the person in the video doesn't. They called 911 and learned that police were apparently flooded with concerned complaints about the noise. The person who recorded this footage says that the local news was told to report this as an airplane. This doesn't really sound like an airplane to me. There's one other strange occurrence, a sudden flash of lightning that instantly makes the noise disappear.
If it is to get into this thing. Uh-oh, what was that? I don't hear it anymore, Tim.
I've never been in a tornado before, so I can't say if this video looks normal or not. I'm especially looking for opinions from people who have been in one. Do you agree with the uploader that this could have been something more than a tornado, like a government weather experiment? An Everyday Canadian is the name of a YouTuber who can't seem to stop attracting the attention of the paranormal. One night he goes ghost hunting with a friend at an old spot known as the Lakeview Cemetery. They're not making any jokes and being very respectful as they pass over the sacred ground.
Aww, that's nice.
1923.
Wow, eh?
Yeah.
And at 3 minutes, his friend even performs a kind act.
Oh, this person lost their flowers. Let's put it back in there for them.
This light winks off as she passes by. This is what it looks like at 3 minutes and 20 seconds, completely off. And this is what it looks like at 3 minutes and 24 seconds, completely on. These lights are solar and wouldn't flicker off. She even says so herself at 2 minutes and 8 seconds, almost a full minute before any of this happens.
Anywhere it's lit up, they have like solar lights.
The light that does this is only 3 markers over from where she returned the flowers, and happens 20 seconds later. I think she's definitely being contacted and told thank you. Most of the time, security cameras capture hours and hours of useless footage. Sometimes, however, they capture something like this. Published in September of 2013, YouTuber Rainy Schooler writes, "A woman walks out of the darkness on a cold and wet night in the mountains far from a busy road and no immediate neighbors. The security camera is aimed into the wilderness and you can see a tree to the right side of the screen but nothing else. That is until, right in the middle of the shot, the figure appears, walks and stops and turns awkwardly. Not turning with her feet but just twisting with her upper body. Then she walks forward again before taking a sharp right turn and veering out of sight. The video moves forward about 45 seconds until the woman is seen winding around the tree and then is spotted back in the middle again, looking off into the wilderness, moving in the same strange start-stop fashion that she was doing before." A different security camera captures the woman walking up towards the house. Out of sight, it's not clear what she did alongside of the home, but she is soon seen again walking haphazardly away and around the same area near the tree in the back. She did this for 10 minutes, the video notes. Many in the comments think this woman must have been on something, but in the middle of nowhere. What do you think? I'm just glad they had security cameras so the homeowners were aware of her activities. This channel was uploading the exact same video for 4 entire years straight. Then after 4 whole years, it randomly uploaded this creepy video as of September 2018. As far as I can tell, there's no practical reason for anyone to be doing this. Almost all of the videos had received less than 4 years in just as many years. I have little doubt that the designer of these videos has some sort of malicious intent, because the entire video collection just feels off, especially the latest one. It could be loaded with hidden messages about doing who knows what. Also, I noticed this string of binary code in the description box. If any developers think they can crack it, then please let me know what it says, because I'm really eager to find out. This mystery will probably never be solved because all of the videos have been deleted, and if you go to the channel, it simply says this channel does not exist. A YouTuber called Makeup by PETA goes from makeup artist to a ghost hunter while exploring the haunted woods by her mom's house. Her brother and her mother have been hearing the screams of a girl and other scary noises at night that they think are paranormal.
And where my mom hears the girl scream is in that direction over there.
Now it's time to investigate. Paranormal sightings are not what they find. Instead, they both get a paranoid feeling in this part of the woods right before this happens.
What? What did it beep? I have so many goosebumps because it was in this area, and why is it beeping?
I think we should go home. I don't think this is a good idea.
Their ghost meter, which has remained quiet until this point, suddenly beeps with sharp measurements of paranormal activity. PETA feels a presence nearby. They all do, and watch the meter beep in agreement when she points to where she thinks a ghost is.
It was right there. Oh my god, I have the goosebumps. It was right there where that tree is.
Let me see.
They return to the same place as night falls and wait to hear a scream. They don't hear any scary noises in the woods, but the same paranoid feeling soon passes over them, twice as strong in the darkness.
Wait, I have a lantern. I should probably turn on my lantern. Why is it beeping? Oh my god, I'm so scared.
Their paranormal suspicions are further confirmed by measurements on their ghost meter. That's when the camera goes out of focus and her brother feels a ghost touch him.
I feel like someone's like scratching me on the back of my neck. Oh, what?
Someone's touching you?
Yeah, like someone's like scratching me on the back of my neck.
Shut up, Jesus. Don't play like that.
Did you hear that?
Why near me?
Guiding them somewhere. As scared as they are, they follow the beeps and soon come across a beaten path that makes the ghost meter go off like crazy.
See? There's like a trail right there. It keeps going. I don't think we should go though. I think we should definitely go.
Wait, look.
Why does it keep going like that?
I don't know.
I think we should probably come back.
There's a lot of energy here.
They ultimately decide not to go exploring the dark path in the woods at night and instead get so freaked out that they run back into their tent and wait to get picked up. Maybe a ghost was leading them back to its final resting place, or maybe it was a trap. The David Oman house is a supposedly haunted home in Beverly Hills that's not too far from where the Manson cult claimed the life of celebrity Sharon Tate. A team of paranormal investigators are busy taking pictures of a dark room at night with an infrared camera to detect heat signatures. Suddenly, the floorboards creak nearby as if someone is near, and this message is broadcast on their equipment. The team bravely decides to stay put instead of taking its advice. Not too long after, they develop this haunting photograph while snapping pictures in the dark. This heat signature undoubtedly looks like the outline of a human. While this photo could be doctored or simply staged, It could also be another piece of evidence that the David Oman house is anything but safe or normal. Who knows what would have happened if they had stayed there much longer. Samuel Porter lives near an abandoned house that he wants to explore, so he and his friends take a short walk and soon find themselves standing outside of its gnarled wooden door. Someone has gone to great lengths to keep trespassers away. The door is locked and the window they get in through is covered in barbed wire. The inside of the old cottage is filthy and collapsing. Large sections of the floor have been eaten away, but they curiously press on. Samuel Porter pokes his head through a hole in the ceiling to see what's on the second floor, a decision he will remember forever. The first thing he notices are two sticks that have been formed into a hanging cross for some reason.
Okay. Perfect thumbnail right here, lads. There's food, cheese.
Then to the left he sees the knotted rope. I did notice one thing about this creepy scenario. If this is an actual noose meant for hanging purposes, then it looks to be set the wrong height for someone to use on themselves. I'm curious to find out what you think happened in this room. To me, it unfortunately looks pretty obvious. A woman is practicing a presentation while her friend films, but they both become distracted by the poltergeist in the room. TikToker Real Scary Video shares this footage.
1, 2, 3, go. Okay na? Now that I have introduced myself to the patient, verify the client's... Now that I have introduced myself to the patient, explain the procedure.
First, the light flickers.
Verify the client's identity and provide...
Ano ito?
Sige na.
Then something disturbs the closet.
Now that I have introduced myself to the patient...
While we can't see what made the noise, I'm pretty sure whatever it was lost its patience. Talk about a non-supportive ghost.
Ano ito?
Sige na. 1, 2, 3, go. Now that I have introduced myself to the patient...
This popular chain restaurant in a children's hospital is said to be haunted, and I need your help to tell if this is real or not. A small transparent girl runs by, but something is a little off about the video, and it looks like it might be photoshopped. If any video editing experts can tell me if this ghost sighting is fake or real, I could definitely use your help. A YouTuber named Box and his friend are all geared up and ready to do some serious exploring down a drainage tunnel that runs deep beneath the streets in Norway. Recent rains raise the water up to their knees, and a storm surge could leave them over their heads in a moment's notice. Many small side passages tempt them, but the rising water makes it too risky. They soon reach an impasse in the form of a fallen tree that quickly brings their exploration to a close. But just as the two friends are having a quick conversation about what to do next, a third party joins in. Something calls from the other side of the clogged pipe, a weird noise in their words, but definitely a scared human voice in my opinion. It doesn't make any other noise or ask for help, and when they try to find the source, it's gone. The tunnel is empty except for them, or so they think. All they find is this weird, large glove with sharpened fingers left behind, an iron claw in their words, like something a madman would wear. And when the passage they were looking down earlier begins to churn out a murky gray substance, they get out of there quick before anything else gets a chance to appear. That's a lot of unexplained events to have happen in one tunnel. Mysteries I don't think they were ready to solve. Maybe they heard someone's last moments before being taken away down that small passage, and whatever was down there was probably coming for them next. Lainey and Ben's haunted house has turned up the intensity in recent months. Now things are levitating. Watch the lamp to the left. A little later, a cutlery drawer opens and closes in the kitchen. Then the tap turns on. You can hear the water running. It turns off and back on again. Shortly after, a strange, unexplained sound is heard. This is followed by some more strange noise, which sounds to me like a garbage disposal. Although all of the activity frightens me, the levitation in the beginning has me really hooked. It also has plenty of people really scared. Stay tuned for more fear. Exploring with Danny is checking out the neighborhood and commenting about how deserted everything looks nowadays. He heads to a nearby park and is looking at the water when he senses something scary in the woods nearby.
Hello? Whoa, hello? Hello?
This mysterious figure in all white looks like some kind of zombie, or a witch, or at the very least a scary person up to no good. And there's also a mysterious red light glowing behind it that looks weird too. Danny runs from the strange encounter and realizes to his horror that he's being followed. Just when he thinks it's lost his trail, the maniac creature comes crawling at him at a really weird angle and speed that looks supernatural and really creepy.
What the? What the?
But here it just looks like somebody crawling on their hands and knees, so maybe it's not paranormal after all. The G team visited downtown Savannah, Georgia at night in this paranormal investigation. The first spirits they meet seem to be super friendly.
In the streets around here. Did it just say hi?
Hi. Sentence.
They begin to feel a presence around them.
The car, that's why I stopped.
Okay, so when I was over there a few minutes ago, I thought somebody walked up behind me. And I looked around, there was nobody there, and you were way over that way.
Peering into the Davenport house, the lady's spidey senses start to tingle.
Oh, that's weird. Look at that. So this is the Davenport house.
Then, as they're standing outside more historic buildings, they hear this mysterious noise.
I was looking up there because I felt like something was up there.
Oh, what was that? Did you hear that?
I did.
And even creepier, they see what appears to be a shadow entity. In the end, the G team is feeling such creepy vibes that they call it a day.
Get this sketched out.
No.
Very easily. I'm usually the one getting the sketched out feelings, but she's got it really bad.
I'm like, usually, let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's get in there.
Would you keep up the search? Me neither. Fearless Fox X has his bravery put to the test when a creepy stranger returns to his house for a second time in one night. Listen for the scary voice in the background.
Just looking at it, and she was like talking for herself. And she was there for like at least 10 minutes, and then she went to my brother's car, and she's just saying all kinds of crazy stuff and talking to herself.
Camera in hand, he creeps up on the stranger to see what else can be caught on video for all to see.
Wow, she's creeping me out, dude. She's like shaking her head around and moving her arms like she's being possessed.
The closer he gets, the quieter the stranger becomes. The darkness grows still, tense, and he dares not turn on his light.
I'm scared.
Little eye, proud eye, proud eye. What the fuck?
He makes a bold assumption that this person is completely clueless about where he is, but the mysterious figure is more self-aware than any of us could have ever imagined.
This has no idea I'm right behind her.
He decides to go home quick, and we never get a closer look at the mysterious figure in the darkness. Kazakhstan is a country with 3 mountain regions said to hold many strange secrets. One such secret can be found by satellite on Google Earth, and it's creepy beyond belief. The lines connect to form a pentagram within a circle. No one knows why someone put such a symbol out in the middle of nowhere. It's either a hoax or an actual summoning circle right by a large body of water, which, if you believe in rituals, could be a necessary element for whatever is being cast. So let me know if you think this weird symbol was made for evil purposes or just for attention. Something tells me this was never meant to be discovered. This video from Japan raises some big questions. And the biggest of all is, who is the stranger in the house with this man? This video is aptly titled, "Is it following him?" And that question really needs an answer. This homeowner, who I presume is recording after mysterious events kept happening in his home, demonstrates what happens when he turns the lights off. Did you notice the human-shaped silhouette in the room with him? And this isn't just a one-off event. Whatever this is follows him in each room he goes, and it's the same size silhouette there each time. Is this a stalker, a ghost, or both? Whatever the case may be, the question of is it following him can be answered, and that answer is a definite yes. I think it's time to get out of that home while there's still time. Be sure to check out Fourth Wall's channel, and they have English subtitles. According to YouTuber Steve Ronan, this mansion used to be a hideout of an individual who ended many lives, but Steve discovered it wasn't empty. While he's in the cellar, he has a bit of a surprise.
It's a tiny, little cellar. That's creepy. Whoa! Oh my! I can see a mouse right there just staring at me.
As he's continuing to search the place, he wonders if someone's living here.
Kind of looks like this is being used, too. It's a dead cockroach on the floor. That's pretty nasty.
Soon they realize they shouldn't be here.
Yeah, so I don't know how long we should be here.
Okay, we should get out soon.
Yeah. That's extra.
And this confirms it.
This is getting creepy now. This might be lab. That's what we're thinking.
We are together.
And now it's time to leave.
Yeah. This was a famous artist's house.
I think a gang is using this. Let's get out.
This exploration just kept going from bad to worse. I probably would have left the minute I found out it was once the hideout of a very evil person. When 2 strangers pull up to your boat on the Nile, you have to assume the worst. This area is known for pirates. They cast a line and tie themselves to the ship in preparation to board.
Oh dear Lord.
The one in white reaches down and then back turned, stands up while holding something.
Alright guys, look for art. Does anyone see an in there?
He reaches back into his pocket and pulls out nothing but towels. As it turns out, this area is full of traveling salesmen too, even at sea. Still, I think they probably should have ran for help as soon as they thought these could be pirates, instead of recording in plain sight and making themselves an easy target. Well, driverless cars are a thing. I don't think this is one of them. Published in April of 2013, a mysterious vehicle is going berserk as it pulls up to the toll booth. The car's lights are flashing on and off as it drives forward. The toll booth operator holds out his hand, apparently not paying attention at first, but then he sees the most astonishing thing. There's no one in the driver's seat. The toll booth man stands up from his chair, leaning out toward the car in shock. You can see the steering wheel spin round, moving back and forth. There's no one in the seat, nor in the passenger seat, nor the back seat. The toll booth man exits his booth and stands in front of the vehicle looking in. That's when this creepy being climbs up the rear window. Dark hair, pale as a ghost, definite the Ring Girl vibes. The mysterious figure causes the toll booth man to fall on the ground in fear. He quickly rushes off screen, and that thing on the rear window keeps on climbing toward the roof before sinking again out of sight. Is this video real? If so, I don't think things ended well for this toll booth worker. This witch is up to no good. Published by Zona Paranormal Veracruz in December of 2021. This scary video starts with a flash. While in this graveyard, the man appears to have happened upon a ritual being performed.
Por Dios santo. No puedo prender la linterna, no puedo prender nada. Arriba, 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 arriba.
A figure is speaking and making this fire come to life.
Arriba, 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 arriba del árbol. Escucha algo, escucha algo.
Later, amongst the mausoleums, the man hears that strange voice again in the darkness.
Acá, 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 acá.
Followed shortly by a high-pitched, sing-song voice.
Ven, ven, ven. No se quiere.
The man then falls forward hard, pushed by an unseen force. He sees a ghostly figure from a distance approaching him. And then it's too close for comfort. The fire is blazing again, and upon approaching the fading flames, the cameraman sees a witchy woman hunched over departing.
Señora, señora, solo vengo a explorar, no vengo a hacer daño. Allá adentro unas sombras, allá adentro una sombra, allá adentro, allá adentro.
What sort of ritual was this witch performing? This cameraman might find out in his days to come. YouTuber Joey Official is staying in the haunted Queen Mary in room B340. Watch what happens next.
I will never unsee that.
What is going on? Oh my god! Bro, what the hell is happening, bro?
Room B340 has significant paranormal activity dating back to 1967.
What is going on? Oh my god! What the hell is happening, bro?
Not only does the activity not look staged, but I'm sold that this place is haunted based on their sheer terror. A woman leaves her car unlocked and loses some personal items, including a set of keys. A short time later, a man who she has never seen before comes to her front door and attempts to gain entry with her missing keys. Fortunately, none of the keys were the house key, and he quickly hurries off with nothing. This just goes to show how easily one incident can lead to another. If you ever experience anything like this, don't underestimate the persistence of those doing it. Sometimes the more clever ones will track you back to your house and try to do the same thing a second time. Mr. Mom from the country of Jordan decides to take ghost hunting to the next level and installs a camera in an abandoned house. This is where the Abla is said to haunt, which means crazy older sister. It isn't long before the scary woman is caught on camera doing some really weird things. It looks like it could just be a lone hermit, but then the chair starts scraping along beside her, moving all by itself, or so it seems. Something tells me that it's tied around to a string around her foot. Now that I've said something, I bet you'll notice the object only moves when she does. Who you gonna call? Likely this Russian YouTuber after watching this video. The YouTuber writes in Russian, "When I started the project, I did not even imagine that it would get such results. Thousands of your posts about missed moments in Ghostbuster." The YouTuber explains that in past videos that he's posted, subscribers have found paranormal looking figures in the abandoned buildings he's explored. He ghost busts a couple of these myths, showing that looks can be deceiving. Looks to be a white figure beyond in the shadows of a darkened room. Dima explains that it was actually 2 pieces of white paper taped to the wall. However, he admits that other experiences do stump him. In one estate, something dark appears to be sliding slowly up a doorway in a room beyond. He concludes that it was either a bat rather than something paranormal, or that considering the estate is in the middle of Moscow, something else was on the premises and stuck their hand around the corner to see if he'd notice. Lastly, while exploring an estate, a ghost is seemingly captured peering from under the archway of a room. At this point during his exploration, Dima admits that a chill ran through his entire body. This one appears to stump Dima, and he asks his viewers if they want him to return to this place and try and recreate the scene and its circumstances to figure out once and for all what happened here. Do you want to know? Or do you think the undead are best left undisturbed? It turns out public buses are rife with incidents of alleged possessed people. This one turned up in San Luis, Argentina on June 7th, 2016. A woman sits with her eyes closed, her head rolling around at random, and her mouth opening and closing. She is jerking all over, not once opening her eyes, and a terrible sound is heard at times coming from her mouth. What she is saying, if anything, is indiscernible. She continues jerking around, looking quite possessed, until a man walks forward and shakes her shoulder, attempting to bring her back around. The man says something to her, and she shouts back in her scratchy, possessed voice. He places his hand on her forehead, and that's where the footage ends. Was he attempting an exorcism? Was he doing something more sinister? It seems we'll never know. This Area 51 video appears to capture no less than 5 bright lights traveling in a tight cluster. It kind of looks like the government could be testing military-grade flares at first, until the lights mysteriously stop in midair, hover for a bit, and then move in the exact opposite direction. These sophisticated flight patterns seem to suggest that they are piloted by intelligent beings. At the 1 minute mark, all the lights grow intensely bright and almost meld into one solid form, at which point a smaller piece breaks off and moves upwards. This looks like no aircraft that has ever existed before, and as far as many are concerned, it can only be one of 2 options: a top secret government prototype, or else actual aliens. Heather of Heather Hauntings is investigating a place known as the Shadow People Trail, a name that needs no further explanation. They go to the very end of the trail where the most paranormal activity is said to occur.
Ghost radar first, because that one's been working pretty good.
That one's been working really good.
Okay. Whoa, what the that?
It was loud.
What the Oh my god, this place is so creepy.
And it isn't long before they catch some creepy stuff on camera that leaves them scared.
So, what the what was that?
I don't know.
Terror?
Yeah, I'm creeped.
The scary noises coming from the woods stop for a while, and Heather's group wonders if the shadow people have left. Watch the ghost radar screen when they ask the shadow people where they went.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, you were all over and now you're just gone.
They leave a camera facing the direction of the noise and walk away. The camera starts to move on its own even though it is on a well-balanced tripod. Some shadows move in front of the camera at 14 minutes and 45 seconds, and then the camera falls over. They've caught enough paranormal evidence on camera to convince me that this forest is as haunted and scary as the legends say. Don Brada is checking out the crumbling floors of an abandoned office building while wearing a head cam. It isn't long before he hears what could be a door slam shut in the distance.
I swear I heard somebody.
He unsheaths a blunt instrument for protection and continues looking around. Part of him wants to leave, but there's just one more floor left to cover. Eventually, he comes across a section of the building that has collapsed into a large dark hole. I personally don't see anything, but some people claim to see another person looking back in the darkness. Tell me what you see, if anything. The whole time, Don Brada can't shake the feeling that he's being watched. So he leaves the building before anything can take him by surprise. Who knows what would have happened if he stayed there much longer, or worse still, visited at night. Nothing like an old village to cruise for some ghosts. Published in September of 2015, this footage purportedly shows a ghost near some old village homes. It's unclear where this video was shot, so it could be any old village anywhere in the world. Let's explore it. The clip takes in the surrounding area of these homes. Nothing appears out of place, although the homes seem to be abandoned. The camera follows some birds on a roof before panning down to capture some ants on the ground. The shot pulls up from the grass and mud and pans around the area. That's when you see it. Too quick to make out any details, an apparition in all black appears on screen for a brief moment, standing off in the distance on some pavement. The figure is still as the shot moves around. What is this? Do you think it's a ghost too? That's at least what the uploader claims. Many have debated whether it is or not, and with no other footage, it will most likely remain a mystery for the foreseeable future. The Sonora Inn was built in 1896 and is infamously haunted by many a spirit. Thomas writes that he worked night shift there in 2018 as he was setting up for breakfast at 5 a.m. This is what was captured on security camera. Watch the bowl he places on the counter in the top right corner. Let's see it again. Do you believe in this dining room poltergeist? I feel it might be a case of the wet surface of the bowl acting as a lubricant. After all, he did say it was a bowl of ice, but that's just my theory. What do you think?
Look at that. What the heck, Dad?
Blake Newdorf is fishing with his dad on a pier in Kelowna, BC when he sees a giant creature off in the distance, at least 60 feet according to his estimate. Blake is sure that this is the famous Ogopogo Lake monster. Apparently, it has some kind of sharp scales, from what he says here at 1 minute and 13 seconds.
It looks like it has spikes.
The camera is not good enough to pick up much detail aside from a basic outline. I think it kind of looks like it could be a piece of driftwood, but I guess at 60 feet long it would have to be a whole tree. Whatever it is, it floats around the bend where the water channels into a small bay. According to Blake, when they went around the corner to follow it, it was suddenly gone. Unfortunately, by that point, they had for some reason stopped recording. If what they are saying is true though, then this couldn't have been driftwood. A YouTuber named Alien6467 and a friend are heading down a long stretch of country road in Southwood, New York, when an abandoned White House on the side of the road catches their attention. Something feels odd about this house, so they decide to get out and start exploring. The first thing the two of them notice is a room with #vengeance scrawled across the wall in big green letters. Under this word are dozens of bags that inexplainably contain only a single coin. After a bit of searching, they find a loose floor panel nearby and start pulling out more Ziploc bags containing single coins. The strange feeling gets even stronger after this discovery and they decide to leave. When filming the house for one last time, they see that they are no longer alone, nor were they ever to begin with. A mysterious black silhouette watches them from above without sound, but I guess it could just be a prank. I mean, they were just inside of that room. So maybe Alien6467 went up there again and pretended to be a ghost for the final shot. Then again, it could even have been somebody who was squatting in the house. The coins might have been a calling card, each one representing a previous victim. These YouTubers are about to come face to face with a situation none of us would want to deal while out on the water.
Hey!
The boat would have practically cleaved him in half had he not paddled away at the last second, and as the other boat passes, you can see one person is facing the wrong way, and the other is absent-mindedly holding a fishing rod. Nobody is guiding the engine like they should have been. Everything is okay in the end, but like the YouTuber says, he wouldn't operate a car without looking where you're going, so you shouldn't drive a boat like that either. Let this be a lesson to look where you're going on the water, and if you're in a small paddle boat like he was, always be sure to look up when you hear an approaching engine. A TikToker called What Up Craig records something in his home that only his dog can sense, something invisible that might be standing at the doorway. It's not someone hiding off camera because the dog looks down one hallway and then it gets up to look down the other, growling all the while. Whatever it's looking at couldn't have crossed the hall without being seen by the camera. At one point, the dog starts making small head movements as it tracks something flying around, and whatever it is seems to come inside of the room at one point. Whether this really is a spirit or just a bug is what I'm trying to figure out, as What Up Craig seems to have firmly made up his mind, and I'm looking to do the same.
What's going on?
This exclusive video was submitted by a Redditor named Babe of the Dead on the Chills Narrator subreddit. While lying in bed making a random video, she hears 4 knocks late at night. She looks up in time to see her life-sized stuffed bear apparently come to life. The bear is square against the wall with no room for anyone to sit behind and move its arm. Some people say it's a spirit, while one person suggested that a person could fit inside if they took out the stuffing, which is super creepy considering Babe of the Dead has no idea who it could have been. Who do you think it was? I have no idea aside from astoundingly scary. Jails offer no privacy, and a lot of them have CCTV equipment in nearly every corner. This video of an empty cell seems ordinary enough until a shadow materializes out of nowhere. The restless spirit briefly paces in a circle and then goes to the far corner. It seems to step onto the toilet and then jumps out of sight. If this is not CGI, then it could be a spirit reenacting the final moments before taking its own life with a rope or something similar. This is sadly a common practice in jail and can be done with anything from shoelaces to a tied up shirt. Maybe a desperate inmate once tied something around their neck to the bars above and jumped off the toilet. They were obviously trying to escape their punishment, but now it looks like they doomed themselves here for all eternity. Robin Adri is the name of a YouTube channel with an interesting Ouija board experiment at 3 a.m.
Is there any spirits out here that would like to contact us?
They try to get the ghost to spell its name, but the session gets off to a bad start after they complain about how slow the ghost is at spelling. This seems to aggravate the spirit, and it asks to speak with Rob's twin brother Steven by spelling its name over and over again. The spirit goes on to profess that it does not have good intentions for his brother Steve.
Do you want to hurt Steven?
After a while, the Ouija board stops spelling Steven long enough to spell out Zozo instead. They eventually end the session properly, and even get assured that they will be left alone in the future.
You said that you will not haunt us, right? Thank you so much, we really appreciate it.
But it seems as though Zozo may have been luring them into a false sense of security. As they are leaving, they see a rattlesnake nearby, and it seems to be paying special attention to Steven. Rob and Adri are convinced that Zozo was sending them a warning sign in the form of a serpent, but I think this could also just be a coincidence. Let me know what you think. This place just might be haunted by something nefarious. Published by Humboldt Pet Supply in October of 2018, the store's security camera footage reveals a series of creepy incidents that cannot be explained. The first involves a package falling off a shelf on its own. The shop attendant continues to shelve items and then heads over to put the package back. A moment later, after she walks away, the package falls from the shelf again. This time, it also moves across the floor a bit on its own. Another clip shows a cat named Diego pacing the shop. An incongruent shadow cat appears in the light from the doorway. There don't appear to be any other cats in the store, but the real and the shadow one. In a third clip, another package falls from its place and moves strangely across the floor. It drifts slowly until it catches Diego, the cat's attention. As the cat approaches it tentatively, the package moves, causing Diego to jump. The cat paws it for a second before he decides he wants nothing to do with this. The package continues across the floor on its own. Is this perhaps the shadow cat playing around with the real one? Seems pretty catty to me. An unknown creature's been caught on camera in the sky of all places.
What is this? What the is this thing in the air?
A stunned woman begins to question her life and her sanity upon recording a creature with tentacle-like appendages flapping about in mid-air. She's parked on the far end of a not-so-busy lot, so that explains the general lack of other witnesses. I'm pretty sure this creature sighting's not real, because this is the only video I could find of it. It would be hard to miss a giant creature wiggling in the skyline like this, so you would think there would be more. My best guess is they've superimposed video of a jellyfish or some other deep sea creature over the sky to create this monster, but I'm not a special effects expert, so who knows? An adventurer from India goes exploring an abandoned house to see if it's really as haunted as they say. Within less than 2 minutes of entering the forsaken building, the explorer has his answer.
करके तो उसी जगह पर ये
A heavy negative energy looms in the air. All the rooms look the same, even the last one, except it has something extra waiting inside.
वो देखिए वो क्या चीज़ खड़ी है
A figure stands in the corner, and at 4 minutes and 25 seconds, a volley of ghost orbs seem to rush out of its silhouette frame upon being found. Orbs continue to dance all around as the figure inches towards with its head down. They continue for half a minute and only stop when the figure crosses into the next room. At no other point in the video do so many of these appear, only here when its presence is nearby. When he looks into the next room, the orbs have stopped and the figure is gone. The encounter is over, and he is left wondering the meaning of what he just saw. Twins and paranormal investigators Kim and Roxy from a channel called Twin Travel 03 go ghost hunting at the Stanley Hotel in Napanoke, New York. Their ghost hunting app seems to constantly activate when held over one of the creepy dolls. The other two dolls, although creepy, don't seem to set it off at all.
Nothing. Nothing. This little lady.
Kim and Roxy also get a strange paranormal readout in a closet that even one of the employees finds strange enough to comment on.
An old-time phone. There is no phone, but we still hear it ring. And you're getting a K2 pin, aren't you?
Yeah, I just did.
Huh.
And when they tell the ghost to take a step back, it seems to obey their commands.
Back away so it goes down to single green. Thank you.
But the creepiness is only just beginning.
Can you move the ball, please? Oh my god, I have chills.
Can you move the ball, please?
It's moving, thank you.
If you are not a believer of the paranormal, then tell me how this can happen with a kid's toy that is filled with nothing more than air.
Again, please.
Oh my god.
YouTuber Ali H lives in a haunted house. After his dogs woke him in the middle of the night, he was confronted, but not by his dogs, by the demon itself. Watch the security camera footage here. Ali says there was a knocking noise which disturbed his dogs. That's why they woke him up for comfort. He got up to check things out, and when he did, something sinister happened. After having his neck squeezed and then thrown to the floor, Ali somehow went back to bed. Although this would definitely not be my reaction to being choked by an unseen force, I do believe Ali's story. Watch again at how he was lifted off the floor by the demon. Maybe Ali is just so used to dealing with the haunted happenings in his home, he's become indifferent to them. I think this is getting dangerous for him though. He should take everyone's advice in the comments and move from this haunted place before it's too late. We've all encountered a Karen or two in our lives, but it's a rare occasion that we're faced with a Karen this far out of control. A ballistic individual was captured on video standing in the middle of an intersection, facing a bus, screaming at the top of her lungs. It's unclear what she's saying and why she's so angry, but what's become clear is that she's chosen to take her rage out on the bus. She targets the front window with her fist, shattering the glass. When she moves to the side door, what she's screaming is finally audible. She's telling someone to get off the bus. But whoever it is she's screaming at does not get off the bus, so she runs across the street, likely in order to escape prosecution for the damage done to public property. No further information could be found on this incident, so it's unknown what preceded the meltdown or followed it, if it was provoked, or why it escalated to this degree. Regardless, it seems like this went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. Is this a ghost or not? Is what the uploader of this potentially paranormal video wants to know. First, let's watch this intro.
Welcome to Inspector Gadget.
As soon as he introduces himself, An object moves by itself behind him, or maybe a ghost introduces itself in return, he suspects. I think the object fell forward on its own because it was top heavy. This video could explain a lot of other alleged ghost sightings on YouTube where an object moves on its own, but I don't think this was faked on purpose, just a coincidence is all. What do you think? Real ghost or not really? A Russian YouTuber named Phantom claims to have met a ghost at an abandoned house that's full of, quote, many terrible and mysterious legends. Maybe this sign will tell us more about its history if someone can translate it. All I can make out is the year 1910 at the very bottom. In the middle of a rock floor, he finds candles unlit, strewn in a circle. The scene gives him an eerie feeling and he doesn't want to stay here for long, for fear of whoever left them here returning to find him. He thinks the legends probably are not real, and that whoever set these candles was just trying to scare paranormal explorers like him. He decides to come back even later at night to make sure the legends of paranormal activity really are just a myth. As he creeps back to the house, he's surprised to find the candles are now lit, and his horrors have just begun. Standing in the middle of the circle is a mysterious tall figure wearing robes, and seemingly not even noticing Phantom is at the window. So deep is its concentration, it's locked in a dark meditation of some sort that he cannot break. Phantom no longer cares about getting the best paranormal evidence ever caught on camera, and goes running into the woods for his life. The woods have grown colder, more forbidding, as he hides between a tree and wait, too afraid to turn his light off even though he knows he's being followed. The mysterious figure is on him in an instant, and as it heads his way without taking any steps, he gets to see its smirking face under the cloak. I think this video is probably not real, because it looks like he uses a filter to stimulate his equipment messing up, and also because if it was real, then I don't know how he could have survived. It's a little past 3 a.m. when Braden Lee hears objects falling over and strange noises coming from within the wall. The situation sounds like it could be paranormal until he turns the lights on and sees this small but scary creature perched in the corner of the room. Now it's time for his dad to get the creature out of his home and into the night. The bat has been flying everywhere, and he only has a few moments to act before it goes airborne again, so he has no choice but to put on some gloves and catch the creature, and it's all caught on tape to make for a scary 3 a.m. video indeed. He lets out a terrified scream and fumbles the bat before recovering and taking it outside. I'm glad that everyone is alright, and that it didn't land on his face or anything, because it definitely would have defended itself, and there's no telling where that creature has been or what it has.
Oh my god, that was good. Trace, am I a hero or what?
When Ravi Singh and his friends see two mysterious figures in white, they have an odd reaction and decide to flash their high beams instead of driving away. I feel like they are trying to prove a point here, but I don't understand. So if you speak the language, tell me what they're saying.
आगे कर अपन डिप पर मार तो प्रवास होत बापा मन.
What's kind of weird is how the possible spirits always seem to stay just outside of the headlights, almost like they want to follow but only while staying in the darkness. And I think they are trying to point out that the spirits do not show up on the dash cam, but I'm not sure.
हाँ जान दे पिछू जान दे पिछू.
I'm hoping someone can translate this scenario, because I really want to know what's going on. It's 4 in the morning when Casey Jones awakens to a creepy scratching noise coming from above. It's loud enough to be a rodent, but as she's about to reveal, it's something unexplainably worse.
No, it's not a mouse. It's this. What the f
is that thing? Does anybody know? Oh.
It looks like an exceptionally large grasshopper that's roughly as thick as her thumb. I know this insect must have a real name, but giant mutant bug is all that comes to mind. Feel free to clue me in on its actual identity. Exploring with Devin is a YouTube channel full of mini adventures and gaming vids. This time, Devin is biking along the side of the road when he sees this creepy old abandoned house waiting to be explored. Soon, a full-grown adult appears in the overgrown front lawn and questions him while walking forward.
What are you doing in here? I just wanted to explore. What are you stealing? No, I just wanted to explore.
He accuses Devin of taking from his property. Even though it looks like there is nothing worth taking, who knows what would have happened if he reached Devin, or how exactly he plans to search him. Once he gets a good distance away, Devin says that he didn't take anything, and that the man is trespassing anyway. The property looks abandoned, but the man does check his mailbox while he is out there. So he either does own this property or has completely lost his mind. Someone watching you while you sleep? Shared by YouTube channel blah blah. This scary video is trending in the Arabic speaking YouTube community. Security camera footage captured this paranormal event on camera. Watch for the standing fan. But more terrifying is the sleeping woman's reaction. Fans can be automated and set to start at a certain time, so to me this is not necessarily a paranormal event, but then again, her response makes me second guess myself. I tracked this video down to the TikTok account at Jezebel TikTok, but I'm not sure if this is the original source. Judging by this woman's level of fear, I can't help but think that she saw or felt something else in the room, aside from a light breeze. What do you think is going on here? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.